full analysis just after 4 o'clock this afternoon with Sibahle Mota, who's been watching that for us today. Later on, we will talk about a new survey that's been an industry report titled Seizing the Moment, Unlocking South Africa's E-Commerce Promise. It's a very long report, and the chairperson of the E-Commerce Forum has put that together, and we're going to find out what it means for South Africa. It's almost the future of shopping. I've done 2 e-commerce purchases this last week, and I think the biggest issue I have is the delivery of it. But it really is something else. So we're going to talk about how South Africa's e-commerce, what the landscape is as it is in South Africa, and what the future is, and how it's able to change your and my life. And that's all coming up in the program today. We're going to give you an extra opportunity for calls and voice notes and things today as well. We have a little bit of time, and we thought, let's give you an opportunity to have your say on what's been happening around over the weekend. And then later on, Tumi is going to feed me some humble pie. So that's coming up later on. It's 9 minutes past 3 o'clock. Let's go to the Madlanga Commission. Retired EMPD Deputy Chief of Police Rivo Spies is continuing his testimony. He's been explaining how the suspended Deputy Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi unlawfully authorized the installation of police blue lights on Vusimuzi Cat Maklala's private vehicles. Let's go back there and see what he's talking about at the moment.
From Commissioner Baloyi. But if you want to reiterate what is in paragraph 44, for completeness sake, please go ahead.
After he was uplifted now and he's back at work, the Chief of Police redeployed him to the Director Bylaw position. And he just blatantly refused. And about approximately 2 to 3 weeks after he was redeployed, a letter was issued by Kasheka to the Chief of Police to say that the Chief cannot deploy him. He must be redeployed to his substantive position as Director Specialized Services, which in my mind, and we had proper discussions about that to say, but this is a usurpation of the Chief's powers and functions. He's deploying. Section 64C says he's the one who deploy, who transfer, who appoint. He must sign off on everything. And if he deploy any person and he gives them a legal police instruction to go head a unit or go head that, he's the one who takes responsibility and he's the one who gives the instruction. For not complying to that, it is a very, very serious misconduct. If it was still in the pirate era, he would have walked the plank. But he's being protected by someone from HR who's got no powers to interfere into policing matters, who's actually giving an instruction to a police chief that this person must be moved back to his substantive position. That is the only part that I want to put down there, is that there's proper interference from civilians into the policing arena and contravening the South African Police Services Act, which gives specific powers to the Chief of Police.
And for the record, Chief Mappier dealt with that process during the course of his testimony, and has submitted into record the letter that you reference, instructing Chief Mappier to reverse the decision to deploy him, Brigadier Mkhwanazi, to the bylaws division and requiring him to be placed back in his substantive post. And Chief Mappier has owned the response to that demand by Ms. Kasheka. So it is dealt with in full there. So it is... Yes, Jay.
Yes. I seem to recall, I don't know whether it was in Chief Mappier's evidence or in one of the statements, either his or yours, that a reason was given for the deployment in the bylaws section. Just remind me, what was the reason again? I'm asking this because surely the chief cannot redeploy at whim. Yes, the power maybe is in terms of 64C, but I doubt that this is something he can do, based on how he feels. I'm using he because it's a he, the incumbent is a he. Sure, there must be a rational basis, but if you don't remember, no, it's
no.
Not,
there was a rationale given behind it, and as I stated earlier, is that the director positions are all the same job descriptions, and therefore you can be deployed to any one of those to do the same work. it's one will be dealing with specific bylaws, one will be dealing specifically with the police station area. But the rationale behind the letter when it was given is that because there's still investigations going on with this group and with this influence at the specialized services, is that he temporarily be redeployed to the bylaw section. So there was a rationale given.
I think that's exactly what I seem to recall in my mind. Thank you, Commissioner. That's enough.
Thank you, Chair. And perhaps for the record, if the Chair could scribble on Commissioner Spears's that part of Commissioner Spears's statement. Chief Mappier, in dealing with this aspect of things, references annexures JM30, which is the same upliftment letter, followed by JM31, which is the letter from Ms. Kasheka challenging his Chief Mappier's decision to deploy Brigadier Mkhwanazi to bylaw enforcement, and JM32, which then is Chief Mappier's own response to Ms. Kasheka's challenge as to why Brigadier Mkhwanazi has been deployed to bylaws. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. And then in that paragraph, that chapter, you conclude by expressing a view that as far as you are concerned, this constituted usurpation of Chief Mappier's powers contemplated in Section 64, capital C, sub 2.
Correct.
And you say Ms. Kasheka has no authority to interfere in municipal police matters in this manner.
Correct, Commissioner.
How else would she become involved in police matters?
She cannot be involved in any policing related decision or the deployment or transfer or movement of officers. Her function is as a human resources to do that administrative portions behind the scenes. If an officer is appointed or redeployed, capture it in an HR system, manage the personnel files. That is what the HR function is. It is you, and it's strange to say it, but I don't listen to civilians. I'm a policeman. I listen to my direct line of command in a line from the chief of police to me, from me to the brigadiers underneath me. I don't listen to a person from HR giving me policing instructions. I will assist them if they ask information, and they will do paperwork and administrative work. That is the function of HR.
Thank you. Commissioner?
Yes. Perhaps on that theme, we saw in the letter of appointment of Chief Mappier something to the effect, and this is from the city manager, something to the effect that he will exercise his powers or perform his functions, among others, as directed or the direction of the city manager, some such wording. What do you understand that to mean? The powers of the city manager over the chief of police.
In terms of the South African Police Services Act, and I think it's Section 64B, is that the city manager is accountable for the Metro Police to the council. So she's a conduit to the council, and she must be accountable for the Metro Police. Now, because she's accountable for the Metro Police, obviously she will have powers in the sense that the chief of police must account to her whatever he does, but not related to policing matters. It's in his day-to-day work, how he spent money, how he spent the budget, how he operates within the environment of a local government, that he complies with the MFMA, the Structures Act, the Municipal Systems Act, all of those legislation. And whatever is being done in the municipal police must be accountable to her. And that is the function. To issue a policing instruction will be considered as interfering into policing matters. Only the chief of police will have the powers, and that's where Section 64C then steps away from the city manager, who is accountable for the municipal police, to the council. It steps into the chief. He himself must then have the following powers to that. And it goes further. The city have a matrix of delegations. So council resolve a complete chapter, a whole policy on delegations, where council, because just about every piece of legislation will speak about an accounting officer can do this or accounting officer can do that. And all of that is then in a council resolution taken to say the following delegations is delegated to this individual. And the chief of police has then 2 sets of delegations that is delegated to him from council. The first one is that everything in section 64, chapter 12, everything that is mentioned there is then delegated to the chief of police. The delegation for the Firearms Control Act, where the Firearms Control Act speaks about the responsible person for an official government institution, that function is delegated to the chief of police. And every other piece of legislation that assigns a function to a council authority, in that set of delegations, it is then given to the chief of police by council, not by the city manager. And then further to that, there's a generic set of delegations that deals with how normally HOD of a department will deal, the appointment, the practical appointment, promotions and discipline processes. All of that is then also delegated as a separate set of delegation to the chief of police.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let's turn then to page 22 of your statement, the sub-chapter you have termed death threats.
During this same period, this is now this May, June, July period, when all of this is reaching like a hot point where there's discussions going on and nothing happens with the disciplinary and nothing happens with IPID. It just, everyone gets more information and it gets worse and worse and worse as we go along. I am suddenly approached by a person from the State Security Agency, and he is stating to me that they, a State Security Agency, have picked up that there are death threats being made against me, where this Brigadier Mkonasi and other officers was discussing in Katlehong area, they were discussing to rent or hire Inkabis, which is a hitman from the KZN area. So they were discussing this, and they already have plotted the concept of it's easy to take me out because I drive in my private capacity. I also have motorcycle and I enjoy motorcycle riding, adventure riding, and it's easy to take me out because I use the motorcycle. So SSA concluded a complete threat assessment against me and with my house, and there were conclusions made at the end of the day where they asked me if I'm kosher with it, if a guard can stay on my premises and I will provide water and electricity to the guard. And I stated, yes, I will do that if it comes down to that. But I also look after my own security and my family security in a very secure manner. And that they then reported this to the city manager.
Commissioner, may we pause at that point?
All right, well, they're having a quick pause. We'll have a quick pause as well. That's retired EMPD Deputy Chief of Police Rivo Spes, his testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry.
So, you switched to a different brand of sun protection, and you're still getting vitamin E and UV filters for high sun protection and a safer summer. Plus long-lasting water-resistant skin protection that's approved by skin specialists and the Cancer Association. That's because you made a clever switch to Click Sun Protect products with Click's trusted quality and great value. When you switch, it just clicks. Switch and save only at Clicks.
Bafana and Chipolopolo have a massive meeting on the battlefield. This is not just an international friendly. The two nations are gearing up for the Africa Cup of Nations. Witness the Southern African Derby, South Africa versus Zambia, on Saturday, 15 November at 5:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC2. Then on SABC radio stations at 6 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. You're listening to the National Pulse.
John Cleric here for Ashraf, 22 minutes past 3 o'clock. News headlines coming up in 8 or so minutes. Big news that's just been that I browsed across, about half an hour ago now. It's an ongoing issue. It's ARTO, the Administrative Adjudication of Road Traffic Offences Act. That's been pushed out again. It will now be implemented next July. So we got, 6, 7, 8 months. Could see drivers losing their licenses if you incur too many infringement points. It was all supposed to roll out by next December. The rollout of the actual law, without the actual points deductions, being set to be implemented in 69 municipalities from this December. But that looks as if that's going to be delayed. It was announced by the Transport Department this afternoon, the decision having been taken between the Minister of Transport and the Deputy Minister there as well. They say the postponement comes amid an assessment by the Department of the State of Readiness in some of the municipalities that were to form part of the first implementation phase. Some of the issues identified during that assessment include finalization of training of both law enforcement and back office personnel, as well as the need to harmonize the current law enforcement system used by various municipalities and its funding. It seems like a really big issue. So ARTO is pushed back again. How long have we been waiting for this? I remember doing an interview with Outer about this, and they were saying it's just a shambles at the moment. So that's an ongoing issue. Give us a call. We've got a little bit of time now because the Madlanga Commission has taken a break. The reason we're not going back again, they've taken a break. I'm assuming they'll be back for a little bit. It's just a little quick tea break, refreshment break, 24 minutes past 3. So give us a call, 086 000 2032. That's the phone number, 086 000 2032. You can SMS, send us a WhatsApp. Send us a voice note on 0614 104 107. Phone lines are open. Keys is waiting for your phone call. Just a reminder what's coming up later on. We're going to get an update on what's happening with the Duduzile Zuma Sambudla trial. We're going to find out exactly what's been happening there. This has all got to do with the July unrest in 2021. So 4.5 years ago now. The state witness was testifying today. Police Major General Gobel Govender was tasked with coordinating investigations into those social media posts that Duduzile Zuma is alleged to have written, allegedly instigating violence in those unrest. So we'll chat about that later on in the program. Get your views on that if you've been keeping an eye on that. And then we'll get an update of what's happening in the Madlanga Commission. And then at some point, Tumi and I are going to, I don't know if she's a gloater. Is Tumi a gloater? I think I'm a gloater. I would gloat. But we were running through the 5 results that we were talking about, and we're going to do this much later on. Just a reminder, it was the Pirates Carling Cup match. It was City against Liverpool in the Premier League, Springboks against France, South Africa against Pakistan in the cricket, and then the Formula One. I know I crashed and burned in the Formula One. Well, should I say my prediction and my driver crashed quite heavily in the Formula One. So we're going to talk about that later on. All right, let's go to voice notes. 086, voice note number is 0614 104 107.
Good afternoon, John. It's Remy here. John, I just want to know, what was the reply from Mkhwanazi when he was told to come and fetch his letter? Because Sheila just cut it just there when he was, when the commissioner was just about to say what was his reply. Please, this is Remy here. Shop.
I don't know the answer to that, Remy, but what I'll do is I'll talk to Sibatle Mota, our SABC News reporter. She's been watching this since, 20 past 4. We'll talk to Sibatle at 20 past 4. So to collect letter. I'm writing a little note down here. Collect letter. What happened? What happened? Right. This is making for amazing radio. There we go. Collect letter. What happened? So you're going to have to hang around if you don't mind till around 20 past 4. We will talk to Sibatle and get an update on what happened there.
Afternoon, John. John, Zete here in Kala. You see, John, I don't think South Africans are fair to scold or disagree with Mr. Mkhunu's party when they don't want him to step down in Luthuli House. It's their right, John. Whether he steps down or he steps up, but not in South African government's portfolios, like the ministry he misused in police. He has to be charged if found guilty and be expelled from any of our duties, that is our entities. If he has managed for his own good and friends the task given to do, he must resign or be expelled, because portfolios in government are not for his own party, but for all South Africans, especially now we are in GNU, even before they usually step up in such crises as we used to see this happening, unjust promotion. Thanks, John Mcete.
But you saw the news that he did offer to step aside, right? It's the ANC confirmed that that police minister Senzo Mchunu, who's been placed on special leave, offered to step aside from his party duties following the establishment of this commission. The NEC decided that he should continue with his organizational responsibilities while on special leave from cabinet. And Mchunu has not been charged, as we know, and that's the step aside rule, isn't it? That once somebody's been charged, then they will be asked to step aside. He has already appeared. I can confirm the minister, that says the spokesperson who's on special leave, did offer to step aside from all the organizational processes of the ANC. In terms of the active participation as NEC and NWC member, the NWC of the ANC rejected his request on the grounds that he's not yet charged in any court of the Republic of South Africa. So he's offered to step aside. ANC decided, no, carry on doing your work, please.
Good day. So if you have an ARTO fine, should you pay it? Doesn't mean that you have to pay it. Can you please clarify that for me? Thank you. Good day.
All right, we'll look into that. Yeah, it's all I know is that it's been delayed. So I think your fines will still be fines. But what we'll do is we'll see if we can get an expert in and try and explain to us exactly what's going on with the R2 situation.
Hello, John. Good to hear your voice. John, this is Tepiso. You know, the truth has a way of coming out. And I think these commissions, Malanga and the parliamentary one, is going to expose certain politicians. And I think one of those politicians whom I really admired is Julius Malema. And he's exposing himself in the process. So it's just that I'm just disgusted by injustice and things that are happening in South Africa. I really love South Africa and I want to return to South
086 000 2032 is the phone number if you want to call, and you can send us a WhatsApp on 0614 104 107.
Thank you, John. On the news headlines, KwaZulu-Natal disaster management teams remain on high alert after the Weather Service issued a warning that severe thunderstorms may occur over the western parts of the province. The Durban High Court has heard that there were more than 160 WhatsApp groups created with the intention to cause public disruption during the 2021 July unrest in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. And the bail application of the Zimbabwean politician arrested in South Africa, Job Sikhala, and his uncle will be heard on Wednesday. A full update follows at the top of the hour.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N1 southbound in Midrand has a crash reported at Buccleuch Interchange. The M1 southbound in Johannesburg, slow moving towards Crown Interchange, and the N1 southbound in Sunninghill, a stationary vehicle before Rivonia Road. In KZN, on the N3 westbound, queuing traffic towards Hammersdale. In Cape Town, the N1 outbound has a stationary truck on Plattekloof Hill. Albert Road outbound is slow moving through Woodstock, and the N7 northbound in Milnerton, queuing towards Plattekloof Road. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
The Morning Brief.
So the song we were listening to there is called Love Never Ends. What was your input in putting all of that together?
My contribution to the song, firstly, was the actual prompt. So it was me that stitched the song together to say, this is a good beat. Now take this beat and then position it like this. And then the lyrics as well, that's something that I also kind of sit down and then draft and insert into that to create the full song as well.
Gift Lubele, creator of the country's first AI Amapiano album.
say forever, that's what I need.
This is Dula Sizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief. This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
I know we're going to do it later, but you gloat, or you're not a gloat.
The champ is here. The champ is here.
She gloats. I think you beat me by one.
Yeah, still, I beat you because you were so confident that you'll be laughing at me. I'll be chilling on the corner and I'll be licking my
Is that what
wounds.
it sound like?
Something similar.
We'll do it later.
Well, a very good afternoon to you, Ashraf, and our listeners.
Ashraf, try again.
Oh
Try
my
again.
word.
Huh? You see, now I win. Take it back. Everything I was going to do. Take it.
Sorry, John. I'm so sorry, John. A very good afternoon to you, John. And our listeners, let's start things off with rugby, where the Springboks are now eyeing an unbeaten tour of the Northern Hemisphere. This is after beating France 32-17 at the start of France and Paris on Saturday. The next challenge is Italy in Turin, and the team traveled from Paris yesterday and began preparations today for Saturday's clash at the Allianz Stadium. Now, Springbok prop Wilco Louw says that the Italians will present another tough test. And as we know, skipper Siya Kolisi celebrated his 100th test appearance and coach Rassie Rasmus his 50th match in charge. And Lowe says that both men continue to inspire the team with their leadership. I don't know if you saw Jurgen Klopp's message to Kolisi this past weekend. I'm going to try play it for you later on. But yeah, he was just saying, my dear friend Siya, I was just like, friends in high places.
That's right. And he's remember, there was a whole thing. When was it? When Liverpool played towards the end of last season.
Yeah.
Sia was there and he was celebrating with them. So, see, it helps to be Sia.
I mean, the other day, Sia was saying because now Manchester United is winning, all these Man U fans are busy tagging him and saying, yeah, what are you saying right now? But let's move on to cricket, where the Hollywood Dolphins continue their 100% start to the CSA T20 Challenge with an impressive 7-wicket victory over the Warriors this past weekend. This brought their wins to 3-3. This is following matches against the Tuskers and Northwest, making them one of the two sides that is yet to taste defeat in this season alongside Boerland. And Dolphins CEO Hendrik Stradum says that although they had a few of their regulars not available going into the tournament, they had made some key signings to help the youngsters. Meanwhile, the fourth T20 international between New Zealand and the West Indies was abandoned. This is because of rain today. After less than 7 overs of play, New Zealand remained 2-1 up in the series, with the fifth and final match to be played on Thursday. Now, the West Indies had reached 38 for 1 of 6 overs. This is after being asked to bat when a second rain interruption brought the final stop to the match. Then, in terms of football, Marumo Gallant's coach Alexandra Lafitte believes in that his Chargers actually have got what it takes to cause an upset against Orlando Pirates next month in the Carling Knockout. Gallants played to a 2-2 draw against Golden Arrows before edging out Arrows on penalties. Meanwhile, Orlando Pirates coach Abdeslam Mwadu says that he's keeping his feet firmly on the ground and he's not going to go into this one as favorites, even though a lot of people are saying Pirates are going into this one as favorites. Anything's off with motorsport. 7-time F1 world champion Lewis Hamilton says that driving for Ferrari this season has been nothing but a nightmare. Now, both the 7-time world champion and his teammate Charles Leclerc were forced to retire from the Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Brazil, where he was an honorary citizen. Hamilton was retired by the team. This is after battling on for 40 laps in a damaged car. This is following several incidents in the opening laps and a penalty. And remember that Hamilton is still contracted for 2026 too with Ferrari when the new regulations are set to sweep into the sport, and he will be hoping for some much improved performances that will help him to secure a seat with them for 2027. Do you see him still staying there post 2026?
No.
Do you think the problem is him, not the car?
No, it's the car. Definitely the car. And it's the team. There's big issues with the team, and their strategies are just broken. But yeah, this weekend, look, it wasn't his fault that crash. Those first corners were just chaos. But I was watching it without commentary, and it's fascinating how different a Formula One race is without the British commentary. Because then you see things differently because it's just there. But yeah, shame, man. And the one time I support him and I was really hoping that he'd do something. Yeah?
Absolutely not.
Sprint race, I was like, come on, you can do it, and he didn't. And then but there's big issues of Ferrari, and they've changed their boss. That doesn't seem to have helped.
No.
And I don't.
But then the question is, should he leave Ferrari? Where's he gonna go?
Because there's nowhere to go now. So does he say, all right, that's
Let
mine?
me go back to Mercedes?
No, he can't, because what's his name?
I mean,
Antonelli's doing so well.
I know, yeah.
Second. And George Russell's okay, but he's still got 2 or 3 years there. Does he say, all right, I'm done? But
I think he still loves the sport.
And also, you want to go out you don't want to
on
end,
a high.
You don't want to end in a midfield Ferrari that's crashing every second weekend and has bad strategies and things.
Anyway, are we talking about the predictions now?
Do you want to do it? No, we got
we'll
time.
do
No,
it later.
Because no, we can do it now because the Madlanga Commission's quit for the day.
All right.
So we
all right.
Between
Come
you
here.
and I.
Come here.
So hold on.
Whip you.
Before we do anything, I sometimes have to admit. So Finny, can we just play that little thing? Do it.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. We're stuck. We suck.
There you go. You see, I'll admit it when I'm wrong.
So I mean,
let's go. Pirates. We both
won. We both got it. Yeah.
Easy win. All right. City against Liverpool. We both predicted City.
No, you said Liverpool.
Did I?
Yes.
Just
You said Liverpool.
I did. And the worst thing is, I was with my brother-in-law, who's a big Liverpool fan, yesterday, and he was off to go watch the game and everything. And I was like, all right, I'm on your side for a change. All right, so that's 1-1. 1 to you, Springboks.
You know why I said France? I was feeling sorry for you, but anyway, I lost this one.
I picked Liverpool. Okay, so we're even Stevens. South Africa against Pakistan.
I said Pakistan without even blinking.
You did, eh? And I thought that was your curveball, and you got it right.
Proper.
By a lot.
Proper.
That was embarrassing.
Like
how?
Like 143, right?
Yeah.
143. Like how?
What was it? 70 without loss, or 100 and something without loss, or 2 or something, and then we're all out. What is going on with that Proteas side? And then the Formula One, I crashed and burned.
I had said Max Verstappen, and I feel like if he didn't start from the back, and if he didn't have that issue with the tire,
I give you full.
He would have literally won it.
Although he didn't win, we predicted him to win. I think we're going to give him the win anyway.
Honestly, because I mean, he started from what, 16th?
Stone last, 20th.
So the lesson
90.
of the day is do not go against Dumin Kapele when it comes to predictions.
Play it again. Play it again there, Finny.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy. We're not worthy. We're stuck. We suck.
You know that there's a replay this Friday. Something's going to happen this Friday, and I'm going to come in especially on Monday, even if I do it remotely.
Come in, please do. Okay, we'll call you.
Yeah, and we'll see how well we do.
Okay.
Okay, but we're going to get Ashraf in there. You see, he won't be able to. We're going to phone Ashraf.
We should.
And we have a 3-way tussle.
Why not?
All right, we'll see. And what? And happiness for Man United. We got a Man United fan in the studio. How sad is that? Tumi, thank you very much. Welcome to me again in an hour.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Expresso Morning Show has been nominated in 5 categories in the 3rd Annual National Film and Television Awards South Africa.
It all happens on Saturday, the 22nd of November, 2025, at the South African State Theatre in Pretoria. And public voting is open from the 13th of October to the 20th of November at midday.
So visit nationalfilmacademy.com, register, and vote for Expresso Morning Show in all 5 categories.
Then, of course, catch us weekdays 6 to 9 a.m. right here on S3.
You are listening to John Gericka on SFM.
Just about 4:15. Just to confirm, the Madlanga Commission has adjourned for the day. They're going to start again at 9:30 tomorrow. We'll talk to Sibahle Mota, our SABC News reporter, in about 8 minutes or so from now. Talk to Sibahle just, about 10 to 4. So we'll get an update and a full wrap of what happened out there today. Give us a call, 086 000 2032. Seeing as we have a little time, we had given time to the Madlanga Commission. They were supposed to go through till 4 o'clock, so we've got a little bit of time there. And we'll take voice notes as well, 0614 104 107. Let's stay with the sport for a little bit. It's Lewis Hamilton to Red Bull. Let's see.
Good morning, good afternoon, John. Sophia here in King Williamstown. I think Lewis Hamilton needs to go to Red Bull. Why not? It's not a major step down, and they have a great car. The champions. Maybe first he needs to step up his relationship with Max Verstappen. I don't know if that's possible, but I think he could be perfect for that Lewis Hamilton. That is my view. Soviet, yeah. Sup, John.
Do you think Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen could be teammates and work together? And they're professionals. It's their job, right? But it'd be fascinating. The problem is, as we've seen, that Max goes through teammates, right? He goes through teammates all the time, and the teammate struggles to drive those cars. Yuki Tsunoda finished stone last, if not second last yesterday. So yeah, that car.
How's it, John? Says Superman Kupula from Ekabeja. What an amazingly shocking weekend, bro. Results-wise, my goodness. Did you see how Virgil van Dijk wanted to scream and strangle that referee after that offside call? My goodness, it's so sad to be a Merseyside sufferer today. Is it, what is it, 7 games in a row they took down? So sad, man. So many champions having to bend the knee. Shout out to Pep Guardiola, though, man. He was super confident about that. Super confident about that. But anyway, man, it was a great weekend, though. Sia Kolisi, homeboy, actually bumped into him like 2 weeks ago at his former primary school. He was giving away sports fields. It wasn't sustainable, though, but he was giving away sports fields. And shout out to Argentina, man. Shout out to Argentina. Getting ready for the World Cup. Show us magic. Great show, by the way, bro.
Yeah, forgot about Argentina, hey? Argentina winning against, was that against Australia? Argentina winning, and I think Italy did well as well. Or was it Argentina rugby? I forget. Can I forget who they played? Argentina will have to. While I'm doing that, let's go to calls. Tsokolo's in Harrismith. What do you have to say, Tsokolo?
1000, bro.
Lekker.
Good. No,
Sorry,
I don't know.
Argentina beat Wales 52 points to 28. So, Tsokolo, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, no, man. I don't have weight, Ashraf, because I'm still following this Madlanga Commission.
Yes.
No. The best thing is to go back to the white. We must take this thing back to the white. Because we use our democracy in the wrong way. And just imagine the police, the people who said we were into to the right thing. They are doing the wrong thing.
What is this?
No,
Hold on. Before you carry on, Tsokolo, what does the color of the skin have to do with anything?
No, the thing is, it was very on that time
No, it wasn't.
by the
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Move on, Tsokolo. It wasn't.
Look, Ashraf.
It's John.
Let us be honest.
It's John.
Yes, it was not on the other side. I think they can do whatever they did before. They won. Now they can come up with a
All right, Tsokolo disappeared. I don't understand what Tsokolo was saying there. It makes no sense. It was not. It was. Let's go to voice notes. We're doing sports to me. And Good. We're doing sports. People want to talk about Formula One. Let's see what this question
Hi,
is.
John.
Yes.
I just want to chat on the Formula One issue. I want to ask a question. Is it the car or is it the driver? To me, I think it's a car. Obviously, if you got a better car, you'll do better in races. If you look at Hamilton, when he had a better car, he was doing well. Now he says he doesn't have a better car, so he's not doing well. So it's not him. It's not Lewis Hamilton as a person that's doing the job. It's the car. So I think all the drivers are good drivers. It's just that some have a car that's 0.some of a second faster than the other.
All right. So let me explain what I understand, right? It's Formula One's a team sport. There are hundreds of people that work for a Formula One team that work together to make that car go fast. From the aerodynamicist to the guy who pumps the tire up to the guy who does the fuel. It's just a massive organization. And one of those is the driver. But the only person that gets to feel what that car is like on a track and do 350 kilometers an hour is the driver. So that feedback that the driver gives to those hundreds of people, that is the most important thing. If the driver can't take a corner right because of whatever reason, they might have all the stats, they might have all of the data, but that driver will say, I don't like that way this car is turning. And that's up to those hundreds of people to make it so that the car can turn. Is it the car? Is it the driver? I've said for years, the best kind of formulas to watch are those, the Formula Ford and those kind of things where all the cars are exactly the same. And then you can see where the drivers are. But yeah, every one of those drivers that are out there is spectacular. Let's go on to other topics.
Good afternoon, John. Yeah, which means the way ANC it is now, they think that they control everything, because as South African we are complaining about the corruptions. So hence they know that Mchunu, yes, she is not charged, but because we are in this commission because of him, because of him. So now I believe that for the ANC to maintain its reputation, they were supposed just to say, it's fine, you want to step aside, because they understand that South Africans, we are tired about corruption. In one way or another, it means that ANC is promoting the corruption. It's saying it's fine, yes, because you are not being proven from the court of law, continue. Do whatever that you are doing, it's fine with them. Thank you.
Good afternoon, SAFM. I just want to know, how is it possible that the ANC can take an anti-corruption stance, yet Senzo Mchunu is allowed to continue as normal? They are lying to themselves, because we have not believed them in a very, very long time. Corruption is rife, and they continue. And Cyril Ramaphosa said, wherever there is a whiff of corruption, you will have to step aside. This is more than just a whiff. Teresa.
Hey John, your team and all the SAFM listeners, it's Dee from Velcom. I just want to quickly congratulate the police team in Caledon. It was reported in the news yesterday that reapprehended a convict, life-term rapist who had escaped. They also used a drone unit, and it is the drone unit that located him in the river, and he was rearrested. That's great work. Thanks. Bye.
We'll take more voice notes later on. 0614 104 107. We're going to get an update from the Madlanga Commission. Sibahle Mota has been watching it all day.
You could spend 10 minutes waiting for the microwave to beep, or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 30754. Like 55-year-old Stefan, who now only pays an unbelievably low 611 Rand a month for his 2024 Suzuki Jimny. With Outsurance, you can drive with confidence. With up to a whopping 5 million Rand third-party liability cover that covers damage to the other person's vehicle in an accident, you can rest assured. SMS out to 30754. After switching, 55-year-old Andre now pays only 776 Rand a month for his 2024 Toyota Urban Cruiser. Get a quote. If OUTsurance can't beat what you're currently paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. OUTsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Mr. Govender, congrats on the retirement. You just sold your car to We Buy Cars. Tell us about it.
Yes, it just gathered dust in the garage, so I exchanged it for cold hard cash. Now my wife and I can enjoy a stress-free retirement.
Retiring the car as you retire. Nice. So why We Buy Cars?
It was so quick. They came over to our house to do the evaluation, and we sold it the same day. Tops, man.
Okay, so now you got even more time on your hands, eh?
Exactly.
We Buy Cars. Geared for your next chapter, geared for you.
You're listening to the National Pulse.
8 minutes to 4 o'clock. Let's talk for 8 minutes on the Madlanga Commission that's happened today. Sibatla Mota has been watching that. Sibatla, good afternoon to you. Just before we get into my questions, we got a caller talking or wanting to know what happened about a letter collection. Apparently, we broke away just as the witness, former chief of police at the EMPD, Revo Spiss, was giving giving his testimony. He was saying something about a letter collection. Do you know what happened there?
Oh no, I
Okay.
don't recall anything about that.
All right, we'll have to look into that a little bit more. All right, Sibatle, give us the headlines. What were we hearing today?
So John, I think the most important thing, is this Julius Mkhwanazi character who was in acting police chief at Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department as well as the deputy, police chief in the department, and he's linked to this alleged criminal cartel. But what the witness Reverend Smith has managed to do is to just link him to the various crimes or investigations that IPID has undertaken into officers who were under his authority. But let me begin with the association with VIP. So as you know from last week, he signed a memorandum of understanding between CAT VIP Security and the Police Department. And this memorandum was to begin with, because it did not go via the police chief. So essentially, what VIP Security had access to was very, delicate information about law enforcement agencies, Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department. I mean, there was a Hawks raid that was done in 2022 where 11 people were actually arrested in the cargo section. This operation was made by the Hawks as tech security was part of it. And what he had expressed is to be concerned just how can a private company be part of such high level security or policing matters, because these are things that ordinary civilians wouldn't see or the information that was known by ordinary civilians. So I think the memorandum of understanding that was signed between EMPD and Mkhwanazi on behalf of the EMP and CAT Security, I mean, something that really compromised policing in Ekurhuleni. And we also heard about the truck rather hijacking that were undertaken by some of these members of the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department. They were involved in cases such as murder, in cases of hijacking trucks that had precious metals. There was even a business robbery that took place again with these EMP involved, where they robbed this military business of essentially operating outside of the jurisdiction. So I think that was evidence that was quite concerning. And you had this rogue PP unit that was stating part of his jurisdiction and what it is that they could do.
I mean, with you're talking about the memorandum. The fact is that the accusations are that the signatures to make that referendum come into action might have been forged.
No, definitely everything. When you look from Jablani Mati's testimony last week to even Revo Spiess's testimony, it shows that even the police are supposed to go ahead in signing such documents, were circumvented, because you found that the city manager, according to Jablani Mati's testimony, was sidelining him and actually giving the authority to even the city manager herself. So we are seeing the sort of modus operandi that allowed services and security companies at Matala to actually infiltrate, right, the EMPD. And this is the only way that they were able to even do this. I mean, the two memorandums of understanding that related to life, as well as the situation of vehicles that was meant to be given to metro one taken place. A lot of this went on under Nazi, something that was not meant to go or to happen rather to begin with.
Tell us about this memorandum of understanding, as we know, might not have been legal in any way, but what was the point of that? To allow Kat Matlala's company to become police?
It seems like it, and allow it also just to, have its tentacles in EMTD and so it's sort of created a payroll security company because in one instance there was this actually raised, awareness and concern time the services of giving patients, some of the officials so like Anna as well as the education. One would ask, if you already have, a unit dedicated to top officials by then, why are you running another parallel company? And even personally going aside last week, sharing tech and VIP security, offering its services, even in the state of you sort of see the infiltration that might then using the information that they are seeing to their advantage. I mean, if these are jobs that we are assuming we even hired to little finance. I think it was like 55 of them, and some of them operated in business. To their advantage. Hence, why we saw the high taking of funds. We saw, business robberies where proper death occurred, and all of those things. So I think it was for them to run a parallel operation and also have very, delicate information that only the EMP could have access to.
All of this in exchange for a helicopter that rarely flew.
Yeah, exactly. The helicopter chasing minister baffles me till this time. I mean, 2 hours a month, and how long is this helicopter going to be flying for? So it's just the most absurd things that should have been gone through the right channels through the police. They would have had been to begin with. But I mean, even this donation of the vehicle to BMW, the one Mercedes Benz and the other VW vehicle was meant to be handed over to the Metro Police, was not handed over, and we even heard testimony. These are some of the vehicles that his wife, I think she referred herself to Mama said, saying that they are driving their cars to school beautifully light. So you can see, I mean, these criminals were emboldened, and they were assisted by people within the policing service.
Right, Sibahle Mota, thank you very much. SABC News reporters been watching what's been going on at the Judicial Commission of Inquiry into criminality, political interference, and corruption in the criminal justice system. You and I know it as the Madlanga Commission, focusing a lot on the Ekurhuleni. See, this is going to expand bigger and bigger, and you wonder how big it can be. It's just one metro. You with SAFM, it's 4 o'clock.
Thank you, John. On the top stories, weather warning issued for parts of KZN and Madlanga Commission. Here's testimony on a whistleblower's death. For SAFM News, I'm Ondelambana, and a very good afternoon. KwaZulu-Natal disaster management teams remained on high alert after the weather service issued a warning that severe thunderstorms may occur over the western parts of the province. This comes after a severe thunderstorm accompanied by heavy hail and strong winds caused widespread flooding and damage in Newcastle yesterday. A yellow level 4 warning has been issued for today, which poses a low risk of significant impact, including flooding, hail, and damage to infrastructure. Provincial Cooperative Governance Department spokesperson Senzelwe Mzila says teams are helping to restore essential services after Sunday's storm.
Residents are urged to exercise extreme caution as the level 4 severe thunderstorms warnings could cause flooding and also bring with it hail in these areas. Disaster management teams will continue to monitor closely all of these areas, and residents are urged to exercise extreme caution.
The Malanga Commission in Pretoria has heard how a police informant, Yako Ihanegom, was killed after exposing the corruption of officers from the Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department. This is according to the evidence of retired Deputy Police Chief Revo Spies. Hanegom was killed after exposing an unlawful operation by the EMPD in Meyerton, where copper cables were confiscated. The illegal operation was caught on surveillance camera and stored on a hard drive. Commissioner Sandile Khumalo requested the individuals not to be named.
Sorry. Because in your statement, you mentioned that the person, the whistleblower that provided you the tape, was killed shortly after these officers were granted bail.
That's
So
correct,
I think
Commissioner.
just for the safety of the individuals, can we not mention their names, please?
Police in the Northwest have confirmed that a case of murder and attempted murder is being investigated following a shooting incident at the offices of poultry giant Chubby Cheeky in Potchefstroom this morning. Provincial Police spokesperson Adele Mayberg says a group of workers had a scheduled meeting with management. A 73-year-old worker allegedly produced a firearm and fired shots at two men believed to be the owners of the company. One of them died on the scene while the other is in a critical condition in hospital. Mayberg says security staff at the premises heard the shots and shot the suspect. He is currently under police guard in a local hospital. The Durban High Court has heard that there were more than 160 WhatsApp groups created with the intention to cause public disruption during the 2021 July unrest in KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. This is according to evidence led by the state's first witness, the Hawks Major General Gopal Govender, who is National Coordinator for Unrest Investigations. He's testifying in the trial of Umkhonto weSizwe Party Member of Parliament Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, who pleaded not guilty to the charges against her. Zuma Sambudla faces 1 count of incitement to commit the offence of terrorism and 2 counts of incitement to commit public violence. General Govender informed the court that more than 100 persons of interest were identified by the Hawks from 8 WhatsApp groups.
My Lord, there was a total of 164 WhatsApp, social media, chat groups that was created for the sole purpose of communicating from a high level to the ground forces. My Lord, I must place on perspective that these chat groups all did not start after the 7th of July. There was quite a few that started immediately after the 29th July, the Constitutional Court finding on the 29th.
On the 29th of which month, General?
29th of June 2021.
The bail application of the Zimbabwean politician arrested in South Africa, Job Sikhala, and his uncle will be heard on Wednesday. Sikhala and his co-accused briefly appeared at the Pretoria Magistrate Court before their case was postponed. The state wants to verify his immigration status in the country before his case can proceed. They are facing charges of being in possession of explosives. NPA spokesperson Lumka Mahanjana says the state has a strong case.
The state does not enroll any cases unless there's a prima facie evidence against the accused persons. The accused persons before the court today were found red-handed in possession of the explosives.
Recapping the top story, KwaZulu-Natal disaster management teams remain on high alert after the Weather Service issued a warning that severe thunderstorms may occur over the western parts of the province. I'm Ondilambana for SAFM News, headlines at 4:30.
In sports, the Sour Chiefs sees CAF Confed Cup campaign as springboard to Champions League return. Titans feeling the absence of international stars in domestic cricket, and Durant scores 31 and leads fourth quarter comeback as Rockets beat Bucks. More details at 4:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N12 eastbound in Germiston has a stationary truck after Edenvale Road exit, and on Eskampa Drive northbound in Pretoria, there are delays towards Moot Street. In KZN, the N2 southbound is stationary truck near Umgeni Road, and the N3 northbound in Ladysmith is where truck lost its load near the Bergville interchange. The right lane is closed, so you're asked to expect delays. In Cape Town, Spine Road in Khayelitsha is slow-moving at Jafta Masimola Road, and on the N2 outbound, slow-moving traffic towards Jan Smuts Drive. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
It's flake or break in the Elimination Challenge on the Tastemaster Junior this Tuesday evening at 7:30 on SABC2. It's all about perfectly baked pastry and a deliciously savory filling as the bottom six bake their own pies from scratch. There's no time for half-baked measures as they fight for a spot in the next round. That's the Tastemaster Junior, Tuesday evenings at 7:30, repeat Wednesdays at 1 and Sundays at 4 p.m. Only on SABC2.
This November, SAFM proudly presents the third annual lecture.
And as the Freedom Charter says, no legitimate government could claim authority unless it is based on the will of the people. And I think sometimes people forget that.
SAFM invites you to our third annual public lecture, delivered by Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, Dr. Geraldine Fraser Muleketi. The theme of the lecture is Confronting Inequality, Corruption and Unemployment, Rebuilding South Africa's Social Contract for Inclusive and Sustainable Growth. The lecture will take place on the 27th of November 2025 at the Indaba Hotel, Spa and Conference Center in Fourways, Johannesburg. Secure your seat by emailing us at rsvp@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The Morning Brief.
So we are seeing Malusi Gigaba taking to Twitter and talking about appearing in court.
We have indeed reliably been informed that Malusi Gigaba, the former Minister of Public Enterprises, former Minister of Finance, former Deputy Minister of Public Enterprises, will be appearing in court this morning on state capture-related cases. So it is no surprise that he is taking to Twitter and speaking about these particular matters, because it is indeed him, and he is saying pretty much that he is looking very eagerly in trying to resolve this particular matter, getting his name cleared. But speaking to other sources within the ANC who are aligned to Malusi Gigaba, because he is a National Executive Committee member, they are saying that these cases are politically motivated. It is used in order to try and eliminate him as president of the African National Congress from contesting.
Tulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief. The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m. You are listening to John Gericka on SAFM.
Johnny for Ashraf, good afternoon to you. Coming up after 5 o'clock, we have got Wayne Divenay, CEO of the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, you and I know it as OUTA. We'll talk to Wayne about this news that broke this afternoon. The implementation of ARTO Act has been delayed until July next year. Some municipalities not yet ready to implement it. So we'll talk to Wayne about ARTO. And what was that question that came out? If you've got a fine now, do you have to pay it? We'll ask Wayne. He knows about these kind of things. 086 000 2032 is the phone number. You can send us WhatsApps on 0614 104 107. Let's talk about courts. Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, a member of parliament for the MK party and now an alleged instigator of the July 2021 unrest, was in the Durban High Court today. SABC News reporter Nonjabolo Nkundwa Makama is in court, joins us on the line. Njabolo, good evening or good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us. I was surprised the court case went ahead. Thought it would be suspended. Everything started on time today.
Well, yes, John, I can confirm that this matter is started on time. Remember, John, the National Prosecuting Authority, they did say that they were ready for trial. And indeed, today, they did come up with their first witness. That is Major General Gopal Govender, who is the national coordinator of the unrest investigations. As part of the team of investigators that are away deployed to actually investigate the July unrest. So he has taken the stand, he has testified, and he has been cross-examined. So, which means that they are now ready to return to court in court.
What are the charges that Duduzile is facing?
Well, she is actually charged under Terrorism Act. So we do understand that one of the charges has to do with incitement to offense to terrorism. Two of those charges, it's 2 counts of incitement to commit violence. It's basically 2 charges that she faces. Well, the charges are related to her being alleged to have played a role in instigating the July 2021, which was the violence, the lootings that we saw in KwaZulu-Natal, as well as a part of Gauteng. Well, alleged that she used her social media post, which is X, formerly known as Twitter, to encourage people to actually participate in the destruction as well as the looting.
Part of the witness today saying that KwaZulu-Natal was more violent than the unrest that was happening in Gauteng.
Well, yes, so they did say that, part of the lootings here in KZN, it was more severe because this is where it all started, John. Remember, it all started on the N3, where we saw some of the trucks near Moy River, which were set alight, and then moved on to Samarisburg, which is the capital city of the province, and then it has been the most. Also gave an outline, John, in terms of the districts in KwaZulu-Natal, up to 11 districts. It also gave an outline as to how many towns in each of those districts were affected. Also spoke about the police stations in terms of some of the arrests and also some of the cases that were open in those police stations, which actually showed that KZN was affected even economically. It was higher compared to Gauteng.
Tell us about the WhatsApp groups and what the witness is talking about.
Well, yes, the witness did refer to the court on WhatsApp groups, and part of his evidence basically focused on what he says that most of the information or the means that were used to convey the information or to encourage people, to gather people, to mobilize. It was your social media platform, which he highlighted as WhatsApp being the main one. And then he also spoke about Facebook as well and other means as well. But over and above that, he did give a testimony, John, that there were about 162 WhatsApp groups that they created. And then said that out of these, about 8 they were able to identify people at high level. And another shocking thing that we also did see, John, is that it seems like there were links for some of the alleged instigators who were part of those social media groups. They said to have international links to countries like Cuba. He did say that, at this point in time, it was hard for them to actually get these people, but he did say that there were some people at a very high level, at national level, who were also alleged to have been involved.
These WhatsApp groups, were they related to Jacob Zuma's release from prison? Remember, that was arguably the instigation for all of these riots.
Well, I think another important thing to highlight, John, is that during cross-examination, Zuma Sambudla's attorney, Advocate Salim Phofu, he did argue that there were no links between Zuma Sambudla and the looters of the July unrest. She did not participate in those lootings. All she did was to write on her social media platform, and he also discussed, the evidence by the state that said that whatever she wrote on social media under the hashtag Jacob Zuma or under her tweet, said received. He disputes that that was a form of influencing or encouraging people to go and loot. But as we also did hear as well from this particular witness, Major General Gopal Lavender, also did say that the person, when you look at when the destruction started, remember, Jacob Zuma was incarcerated on the 7th of July, according to him. But he says that the information or the court, the Constitutional Court, actually delivered a verdict on him on the 29th of June. And then he said that that was when we saw some of these WhatsApp groups that were created. And then he said that going closer to 7th July, that these lootings started. He says that that's when they actually noticed that there was a Jacob Zuma was arrested, and also that it could have been that the people who were instigating or encouraging people to loot as a result of him being incarcerated.
What was the mood like in the court? We're seeing photographs and some video coming through where Duduzile looks quite light-hearted, smiling with some MK members.
Well, that's always been the case with Duduzile Zuma. You know, she's always been lighthearted from the time where she appeared for the first time in court. She had always, been able to speak to people and, and showing gratitude to those who are in court to support her. Even her former President Jacob Zuma was also in court. Members, the leadership of the MK party, they were all there. But they also did get a comment from the party leaders. And they did say that they do believe that the evidence that was given today, it was baseless. And they did say that there is no link between Duduzile Zuma having been involved in any of the lootings or the destruction that led to this 2021 July unrest. And they're saying that because these this letter or through this witness, they failed to prove that indeed she could have been the orchestrator or could have been the instigator of those violent incidents that we saw happening in KwaZulu-Natal as well as Gauteng that also led to the loss of over 300 people.
Right. Nonjabulo Mtungwa Makama, thank you very much. SABC News reporter down in KwaZulu-Natal. Just a reminder, 350 people lost their lives, 30 people killed in Phoenix, north of Durban alone. Don't forget that.
SAFM's award-winning drama department presents to you the radio drama series Skyline.
Such cockpit medical emergency now.
Cabin crew to your stations.
Where the skies promise adventure, but behind the cabin doors, untold secrets are found.
Signing off on cheap parts they installed like it's nothing.
Catch the radio drama series every Saturday at 9 p.m. on SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
With the ever-changing financial landscape, it can be difficult to make sense of all the moves at times. Join me, Jimmy Moyaha, on the SAFM Market Update with MoneyWeb, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 to 7 p.m, as we break down the key market trends, top financial stories, and smart investment insights, all in one place. It's everything you need to stay financially informed and ahead of the curve.
You're listening to the National Pulse.
All right, let's talk about an engagement that happened this morning in Westbury. There was a ministerial stakeholder engagement meeting. It was attended by top police brass, including the National Police Commissioner General Fani Mosamola and his Gauteng counterpart, Tommy Mtombeni. Let's talk to Sashin Naidu, SABC News reporter. Sashin, you were invited as the media, but then you were asked to leave at last minute. What was going on in Westbury today?
Yes, that is correct. So it was quite at the headquarters in Martindale, just in the Firetown here in Johannesburg, where the media as well as only a select few community members were in fact invited to the stakeholder engagement. The media arrived first to preview the engagement and so on. We did end up that this will get clock, but engagement way around 11 or so. And when it was expected to start, media was then asked to leave the room, stating that the material was taken, from the side of the police ministry as well as media will not be allowed into this. What was fun was that large was also not invited to this engagement. It was only, in fact, just a few select community members as well as councillors and so on. This actually caused, a stir within the community. We did have a few community members coming outside the venue trying to get the venue. And the thing of the community was that we feel that such an important meeting was actually supposed to hear the voices and the ground of the community. The members leave that's going off in an almost daily basis. The vibe out. So they work with that, so it's just another page engagement. They just give certain members of the community false promises as to what they are going to be doing in the area.
Yeah, you touched on that. Just remind us what the whole point of this stakeholder engagement was.
So basically, what we initially thought was the stakeholder engagement was to actually get the views of ordinary citizens in the community as well as community leaders for how bad the gang violence is. Where they will be needed from the South African Police Service to it all, because if you would know, and it's really public knowledge, through various institutions, including Blair, they have committed every year for the past good couple of years that I have been during this. They have made promises saying that they are going to increase employment on the ground. They are going to be intensifying the gang units to deal with this problem. However, we have this gang violence is still being continuing. Despite all of made. That was one of the things that was emphasizing that they are clear community purposes, and they really want a proper long-term to actually allow their kids to walk freely on the street, them to go to the shop, in fear of being caught in this war.
Once this engagement was done, obviously you're standing outside. Did you get a feeling of what actually happened inside?
Oh, well, after the engagement had happened, the acting police minister, Charlotte, briefed the media for about 5 minutes, and he actually told us that put a plan in place together with the police as well as the department to identify employment on the ground, just to ensure that the silence. Also did say that he hopes that crime intelligence and the detective services will be heightened, just in terms of allowing them to get more information from the ground and nip things in the bud before more such mass shootings once again in the area. As you would know, last month there was quite the mass incident where two soldiers were shot and killed, whilst 5 others were left severely wounded.
Same community that also hasn't had water and had to fight with the council to go and get engagement there. It's just these poor people are just struggling to get any sort of interaction.
Yes, that is correct. I also did cover this area for those water protests, as well as for the. To be honest, I covered for years.
Wow.
And these issues, arising from the time I entered. And the residents complained about the water issue, complained about, the ongoing gang violence, drug peddling in the area. They say that, they've seen so much government intervention coming and giving them, in a sense. However, once engagement happens, in a few days after, they say that, nothing is really so on. So we could see in terms of the water issue, certain have already been restored, and the has made a big thing that some of short infrastructure sorted out. What is responsible for residents. So hopefully, within the next or so, full water restoration there.
Did you might have touched on it? Did you talk to the community members that weren't allowed into this engagement?
Yes, we did actually, because as we were, as the media barred from the event, all went outside the main entrance of the headquarters, and there were, a few community members who were there trying to gain entry, saying that, extremely weren't told about this event. Some of them actually only heard it through the media this morning that with these high-ranking are going to particularly feel this is, quite quite a very important, meeting that they were actually supposed to be in because they, as the residents on the ground, were supposed to have been engaging with the acting minister together with the high-ranking to get them sentiments and get thoughts as can be done to end the violence. However, they say that it's quite a sad moment for them actually to allow into this stakeholder engagement.
I find the whole irony that neighborhood is directly across the road from the JMPD head office.
It is directly across the road. If you walk across the road, you are entering Westbury. So that is, the ironic fact. This meeting was specific area. However, community members and the community leaders weren't really allowed access to actually give their grievances and as well as in the South African police.
All right, Sasha Naidu, thank you very much. Sasha Naidu, SABC News reporter, keeping an eye on what's happening in Westbury. What do you make of all of that? 086 000 2032. Let's take a couple of voice notes to get us to news headlines at 4:30.
Hi, John. Hi, how are you? Good afternoon. Owen here from Davidton. Yeah, John, you know what? I think South Africans, we just, like nice things. We like to enjoy life, and gossip. With what we are hearing from Madlanga Commission, the country should just be up, in arms and demanding for a total overhaul. Our system, it's rotten to the core. From all the top officials to groundsmen, officers on the ground. Because what the Lieutenant Species told us today, it's like a crime action thriller. Police, gone rogue, taking law into their own hands. And you see, this is upon us as citizens, to stand up and fight this thing. Thank you, John. Have a great afternoon. And just one request: the SAPC radio should maybe give us a dedicated radio channel or radio station where we will get uninterrupted just to listen, because some of us are, on the road. We don't have time to watch TV and all those things and YouTubes, but we listen on the radio. Yeah, please, man, let's get a dedicated SAPC radio station just to cover the commission. Thank you.
And just quickly, a tweet that's come through, a tweet, we'll call it a tweet. It's from Zwelicha. Zwelicha says, Theresa and all the noisemakers calling in, all are making for unreasonable demand on Minister Senzo Mchunu, something they wouldn't do themselves. Allegations are not proof nor evidence. This higher-than-thou attitude is prevalent in many South Africans. It's annoying. Senzo has rights that should be respected, due process followed. General Mkhwanazi insinuation is not enough. Utilities like Eskom Water will tell you that almost 40% of South Africans don't pay. We steal services, and yet we come here making noise about corruption. From a tire fitment center, car dealership, parking lot, many feel entitled to receive a cold drink. Many have no shame. Many pay traffic cops and don't pay their fines. Corruption is prevalent in public-private settings, and we don't talk about it. Of course, the corruption should stop everywhere. We should deal with it, not this prevalent public pretense many perpetuate. That's what Zwelicha has said on Twitter. You can go have that argument on Twitter. Go follow me at John Jericho, or you can follow us at SAFM Radio. It's 4:30.
Thank you, John. On the news headlines, some alleged instigators who were members of social media groups which incited public violence during the 2021 July civil unrest had international links to countries like Cuba. The Madlanga Commission in Pretoria has heard how Ekurhuleni Metro Police Department Police Chief Julius Mkhwanazi was called to assist in cleaning a murder scene in Brakpan, Ekurhuleni. This is according to retired EMPD Deputy Chief Police Officer Rivo Spies' testimony. And 2 Kenyan activists who were detained in Uganda have been released after more than a month in custody. A full update follows at the top of the hour with Greg House.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the N3 southbound in Bedford View has a crash near Van Buren Road. All lanes are open. The N3 northbound has a crash before Buccleuch interchange and on Golden Highway in Zachariah Park, protest action near Wimbledon Road, and you're asked to expect delays and diversions. In KZN, the N2 northbound has a stationary truck before the M25 Commercial Highway. The N2 southbound has a stationary truck near Umgeni Road, and the N3 northbound in Ladysmith is where a truck lost its load near Bergville interchange. The right lane's closed and you're asked to expect delays. In Cape Town, the N2 outbound is slow moving towards Spine Road, the N1 outbound slow moving towards the M5 Kuburg interchange, and Voortrekker Road eastbound slow moving through Maitland. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Tuming Kapele.
The one, the only, the legend to me.
I mean, oh, music to my ears.
Wait, if I win next week, you're in trouble because it's going to be done in reverse. You see. What's happening?
Anyway, let's start things off with cricket this hour, where Titans CEO Jacques Faul has admitted that they have not had the best start to the current domestic season and pointed to their missing international stars as the reason for this. The Titans have lost 3 of their opening 4 matches on the ongoing CSA T20 Challenge, going down to the Warriors, Boland, and most recently Western Province. Now, Faul says that they have been hamstrung by losing their biggest players to the Proteas, who have been on a lengthy Asian tour, plus the SAA tour in India, as well as the Hong Kong Sixers.
Yes, indeed, a difficult start to the season. Look, to be honest, we haven't played well. We got to take responsibility for it. I think some of our senior players haven't stepped up, which doesn't help. But then we are a little bit thin in terms of staff. If Cricket South Africa, chose to have a SAA tour, Hong Kong Sixers, and then the Protea tour, which takes a lot of our players. The Proteas has got a bit of a rotating system, so we've lost a lot of players. But yeah, at the end of the day, we've got to take responsibility for our results, and we are a franchise that produces a lot of players. So yeah, quite unfortunate that we didn't have a good start to the season.
In football, the Polokwane municipality has welcomed the news that the new Peter Mokaba Stadium will host the 2025 Calling Knockout Cup final on the 6th of December. Pirates and Gallants booked their spots after defeating Richards Bay and Golden Arrows in the semi-final, and it will be the first domestic final at the venue since 2016 when SuperSport United beat Pirates 3-2 in the Nedbank Cup final. Meanwhile, Kaizer Chiefs are looking to use their run in this season's CAF Confed Cup group stages to mount a serious challenge for the return of the CAF Champions League, and this is going to prove to be a serious challenge in a season when Mamelodi Sundowns is under threat from Orlando Pirates, Chiefs, and Sekhukhune United, amongst others. Only the top 2 teams in the league qualify for the Champions League. CAF has been mooting the idea of top leagues on the continent having more representation in the CAF interclub competitions, but until then, Amakosi Sporting Director Kaizer Motaung Jr. says that they will continue fighting.
Definitely, a team of our size wants to be in the Champions League, and we haven't been in Africa for a while. And I think the Confederations Cup is a very welcome step from our progression from last year. Of course, you want to be in Champions League, you want to fight amongst the best, you want to be amongst the best. And I think the star is something that everyone knows as a big club you need to have. That is a long-term objective, and we're pushing to as best we can to make sure we can do that. And you want to be amongst the best. Chiefs needs to be on the biggest stage, so we're going to give all our best to make sure that we can be.
Well, elsewhere, Barcelona legend Lionel Messi says that he hopes to return one day to Camp Nou to say his proper goodbye after visiting the renovated stadium this weekend. The 38-year-old left Barca in 2021 for Paris Saint-Germain amid the club's financial troubles before joining Inter Miami 2 years ago. Now, Messi scored twice on Saturday to help Miami advance to the next round of the MLS Cup playoffs. I mean, I was looking at those clips of Messi scoring, and I'm just like thinking, as old as he is, old in football terms, because 38, when it comes to football, you are old. I'm like, this guy, he just scores like it's a hobby.
But
like
he's playing against Americans,
yeah, but still,
like fellow Americans.
you don't think he'll be doing the very same thing if he was playing
No.
in La Liga?
No,
Really?
I don't know.
Hey, Luna.
Not if. No,
Listen
if he
to
was
what
in La
John
Liga-
is saying.
or in France, I don't think he'd make the first team.
Are you joking?
No, again, in those big leagues in Europe, I don't think he'd make the first team anymore.
Really?
Yeah. He's good. Don't get me wrong, a legend, very good at what he does. But I think that he must be at least 2 years back.
According to Messi fans, you literally just swore at them.
That's fine. Come fight me.
Anyway, moving right along to rugby, Springbok centre Andre Esterhuizen says that Italy remains an unpredictable side and that facing them is never straightforward. Esterhuizen was speaking after the world champion silenced a fired up French side in Paris over the weekend as the Boks prepare for the third of 5 tests on their European tour. He says their recent clash with the Italians earlier this year has given them valuable insight into what to expect this weekend.
Italy is a very unpredictable team. It's always a tough game against them. We played them earlier this year, so I think we've got good knowledge of them. But I mean, this weekend they won Australia, so it's going to be another tough test. We've got 5 big tests this tour, 2 down, and we have to work hard back to the drawing board on Monday, and we're going to expect another big test next week in Italy.
In basketball, Kevin Durant scored 31 points and made a tie-breaking basket with 1 minute 42 seconds remaining to put the Houston Rockets ahead for good in a 122-115 victory over the Milwaukee Bucks. Durant shot 11 of 15 from the floor and had a season-high 7 assists. Now, Giannis Antetokounmpo, who had 37 points and 8 rebounds for Milwaukee, but went 1 of 4 from the foul line in the game's final 89 seconds, and the Bucks ended shooting 14 of 24 from the line. As I'm about to say goodbye to John, I just want to hear you repeating again that you're saying that Messi would not make the first team.
Wouldn't make the first team in the big European clubs today.
Based on his age or based on his...
I think his age, and I think he'd be about 2 meters behind. I think these youngins that are now playing football are just...
So you think he can't keep up?
Yeah, I think you might play like you do the first half. You might do like the...
He would actually make it the first team. He might not play as regularly.
See, okay, that's fair. He'll come on as a super sub last 20 minutes if the team's behind.
Okay.
Because that's why, otherwise he'd be playing there. And okay, he's there for the money. He's
Of
making
course,
a lot of money.
because now he's winding down.
So you go make the money. I'm all for that. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that what his decision is a bad decision. I just think you're comparing the American Soccer League to European leagues, 2 very different leagues.
And Ronaldo?
He's doing all right, eh? But also, he's not playing in the big boys. He's playing in Saudi Arabia. Where's he? Saudi Arabia.
But you don't think that if he was playing with the big boys, he'd be able to handle that?
He could. Ronaldo still could because he's looking fresh and strong. I don't know. You see, this is the debate. This is why we love sport too much.
Yeah, the debate just carries on. I'll have more in the next hour.
SAFM supports a litter-free South Africa. Play your part in keeping our surroundings and environment clean. SAFM, leading the conversation.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
20 to 5, let's get the latest business news. Paswana Mphahlele is a senior accounts manager at Makwe Fund Managers. Some results coming from Vodacom today. Paswana, good afternoon.
Afternoon, yes. Vodacom, the guys are firing on all cylinders. The guys have got what the tech high and it's helped thanks to the operations in the international market. On the light of South Africa, the right earnings as airlining 2%, thanks to those efficiencies and high margins that are helping their balance sheet expanding of their productivity. Guys are able to convert more profit into cash and then reducing that leniency on that debt. Shareholders are also given a share of the percent in dividend. The guys are sitting well right now. We run away going what yes, the market was not precise, and in fact, what we also noticed that relatively modern, more moderate, not a large stretch Vodacom, as is and now to up. When we're talking to those markets are obviously quickly penetrating through last. Optimism is flying through because the US need to work towards reopening the economic activities, providing a key availability data to understand the biggest economy in the world. Yes, sentiment is therefore increasing, but the over rate is 20%. And this is that the US will face a bit of an ease in inflation, but the sentiment, like energy, are lower. Oil prices, we see them, they're lagging at $64, not taking it. Precious metals are taking advantage of that. This momentum around the moving side, along with the yields as we see gold 2% at $4,090 an ounce. That number 2% at 1,525. And with this optimism is moving money flow to risk. Risk indices are opening up well above 1% down up Europe. Europe is also rebounding, led by gains in the tech companies, and put also above is riding that wave to up and led by research. Up 4.8, industrial 1.4, financials are up 0.6. Trend is also out of the wave, hiding 0.7%. The rand against the dollar is the euro 1987 and rand against the
Paswana Mpahlela, thank you very much. Senior Accounts Manager at Macquarie Fund Managers. We'll get another business update in an hour's time.
SAFM is streaming live now on Facebook, YouTube, and X at SAFM Radio.
You are listening to John Gericka on SAFM.
And I know you're very interested, in no ways, about my little playing the markets as opposed to playing the lotto. Ben hasn't won the lotto yet, my producer of the late night show. He hasn't won the lotto yet. And I am down. How much am I down? I'm down $7 in my little investment, down 7 rand. So I'm doing all right. There's only 2 that are red, but one is very red, 5% down, but the others are doing all right. So I haven't lost too much. But Ben hasn't won the lotto yet. We'll double check though. I think if Ben wins the lotto, we'll find out. 17 minutes to 5, you're with SAFM. John in for Ashraf. Good afternoon. It is the National Pulse. We've wrapped all that up. Coming up in a moment, well, coming up after 5 o'clock, there was the headline that broke just as we were about to start the show. This is ARTO has been delayed until July next year. We're going to find out what the implications are for that. And then there's the e-commerce forum South Africa, along with a host of other people, got together and launched a landmark industry report, seizing the moment, unlocking South Africa's e-commerce promise. And e-commerce is probably, it's a lot of people are making a lot of money from e-commerce. And I think we could all tap into that somehow. I think the most important thing is probably data. If data comes down, then we can all take advantage of e-commerce. But yeah, we'll have that conversation. We'll see what the future is. Right now, let's go to phone calls. Sasha is in Potchefstroom. Sasha, you want to talk about Chukolo, what Chukolo had to say? Go ahead.
Yes, John. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Sure.
Yes, I don't know. Must I start with you? I remember that this program is an open line where people are entitled to their opinion, or like you said, let's hear what your opinion.
Yep.
But to me, John, I don't think you treat it as that, because many times I hear you are the one who are arguing with people. Let's say, for instance, I am now allocated this time to speak, but you will interrupt and etc. So that doesn't make it now open line anymore.
Yeah, but I can't allow you to come on radio and say false facts.
No. John, I believe that there are many things that you know, but there are others that you also don't know. Like myself, there are things that I know and I also don't know. But now, I come on the radio like with the guy who said, you know what? I think white people should come back. That person knows exactly what he meant by that.
But that's why I asked. That was exactly the question I asked. Is why is skin color important? I asked that question.
Thank you. John, you know what, today, I think you are asking that question to the wrong person. You don't even want to ask it to the relevant people.
No, but he said it. Hold on. He said it. So that's why I'm asking him.
Let me just allow me to finish this.
Okay.
John, today in South Africa of after 1994, it's a democratic one. We understand that one, yeah? But now if you go around What's happening in our government? The minister is black. The national commissioner is black. The deputy commissioner is black. The provincial commissioners are black. You go to judiciary, the chief justice is black. The deputy justice is black. There are so many things that there. That's what I'm saying. You ask the question the wrong people because you should ask good people. That shows that color is playing a very important role. Now coming to the
Hold on. Now you've said it, so now you need to explain it to me. What does the color of their skin have to do with anything?
What we are saying is that we know what white people used to do, and we see what black people are doing. It's a pity, John, you are not black, because you have said this in Lesotho. In Lesotho, they are saying, "Sitari, sa motho o montsho ke lekgowa." Now, we know that back in the day, I mean, if this was mixed democratically, then I don't think we would have been talking or like we are talking now today. You look at now, if you go to these commissions and whatever, who are being implicated there? Who are the people that we are saying are wrong?
The people that are in charge.
Yes.
Yes. That's
now,
the answer. That's the answer to your question. Who's being implicated? The people who are in charge.
Okay, sir. But now go to those people's skin.
Why? What is the color of the skin? You see, you're still not answering the question. A person's skin doesn't change the way they behave.
You know what, John? I think it's not to say that you don't want to understand. I mean, it's not to say that you don't understand. You don't want to understand. This has everything to do with color. We know that, I mean, when you look at the corruption in today, it's black people that we are saying are corrupt. They are the ones that Majango Commission, that the ad hoc committee in Parliament was Zondo. You understand? Yeah, we know that there's something wrong. And that wrong is because of these people did something decent and democratically. You want to appoint body with that. Because that is what we are seeing. Where people are black. But if you can mix with people, things will start to change.
So if I gave you examples of white South Africans that were involved in corruption, would you change your mind?
That is a drop in the ocean compared to what we black people are doing.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Otherwise, we could go on forever. Sasha in Potchefstroom. This would be a great late night conversation. We could have that conversation for a long time. Pulitselo in Val, you want to comment on what Sasha had to say? We're going to come to you in a second.
Ready to connect, innovate, and be inspired? It's all happening at Africa Tech Festival, where Africa's technology meets the world. From the 10th to the 13th of November in Cape Town, join global leaders, investors, and innovators driving the future of Africa's digital economy. Don't miss the continent's biggest week in tech. Get your pass now at africatechfestival.com.
At school, I was falling behind. They thought I wasn't trying, bruh. Truth is, I couldn't see well, and I felt as small as the words on the board. And then, teacher came to sit with me and realized I needed glasses. Bruh, now everything's changed.
Take time to listen. With enough love and support, children don't just catch up, they thrive.
Visit holdmyhand.org.za.
Together, we can change their future.
The Morning Brief.
So the song we were listening to there is called Love Never Ends. What was your input in putting all of that together?
My contribution to the song, firstly, was the actual prompt. So it was me that stitched the song together to say, this is a good beat. Now take this beat and then position it like this. And then the lyrics as well, that's something that I also kind of sit down and then draft and insert into that create the full song as well.
Gift Lubele, creator of the country's first AI Amapiano album.
This is Dula Sizwe Semelane on the Morning Brief. You're listening to the National Pulse.
Can of worms have been opened. Puseletso is involved. Go ahead, Puseletso. What do you have to say?
Hi, John. I think the point in what the gentleman was saying, for him just trying to generalize, we cannot approach it like that. For him to have this notion that if the white people at the house, then things are going to run smoothly or properly or corruption will be fully eradicated is nonsensical. There was corruption before ANC took over. It may not have been as high as what we are seeing currently, but that does not mean that all people are not corrupt. Then it does not mean that all black people are just so corrupt. No. People are in the positions they are in because they were interviewed, they were given an opportunity to be there. If somebody comes in and abuses the trust that has been bestowed on them, it does not mean that every other black person is therefore a corrupt person.
And it doesn't mean
So
that
want to
it doesn't also mean that all white people. You see, that's my point. It's got
it's
nothing to
not
do with the skin
mean
color.
that all white people are corrupt. It's got nothing to do with skin color. Steinhoff happened. And was there a lot of furore about it? No, there was not. Busasa happened. Was there a lot of furore about it? No. And I was laughing as I was making the call because I'm just thinking, where is this man from? You know, look, the majority of the human beings in South Africa are black.
Mm.
Say now with the whole thing with time for redress, black people are getting and more black people getting higher ranking positions. That we condone what they are doing. We are disappointed.
Mm.
The relationship we have is just how, for example, we take Madala's wife. The allegation is that she then goes on Instagram and posts that she is being robbed of blue light and the whole thing, you know, and the whole investigation. It's not some people not taking advantage of they are doing it. It's just that they are not on Instagram parading it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So people must stop with the generalization.
Puseletso involved. Thank you. We have to move on. Let's go to Innocent in Nelspruit. What do you have to say, Innocent?
Good afternoon. How are you?
Lekker.
I'm good, thanks. Yeah, the lady who just went off, she said most of the things that I wanted to say because it's shocking to hear a father, I think, who has this kind of mindset. Is very shocking because now he has this mentality to think you are white, you are not corrupt, you are black, and you are corrupt. It's wrong. But the question that we need information that we have, there's a lot of information that we can use now, how to change the system of our political whatever, of our government. So what we do as citizens, we see the say they have proven enough that most of our government officials are corrupt. But there's a twist of our president because the president, remember when he went to get into office, promised South African citizens that they will rid of corruption. Another question that we should ask ourselves is this his way to rid of corruption? Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you very much. That was Innocent in Nelspruit. I think we one more caller now before we take some voice notes. Miles in Johannesburg. Go ahead, Miles.
Thank you very much, John. Look, we all agree the world over that apartheid was a crime against humanity, has criminalized, stigmatized, colonized its victims. And we are in denialism. That is why, until such time, the black mind, the majority, you are academic, whether you are intellectual, whether you are hobo, until such time, we get out of that denialism with the system. The world over left us
criminalized, stigmatized, colonized, and we need a vaccine to decriminalize, destigmatized, and decolonized. And the real criminals, which support the system, get away with it all the time because we are in denialism. They also remain in denialism that they are the criminals.
So
And I
hold on,
submit.
let me understand what you're saying. So you're saying it's because of the legacy of the past that certain individuals can't they're criminalizing themselves?
No. The system
Yeah.
has criminalized it because the system was declared a crime against humanity. You understand? Apartheid remains all its victims, whether you like it or not. We remain criminalized, including myself and you. We are in denialism that we need a decriminalization, decolonization vaccine, destigmatization vaccine. And that will come as a result of telling real criminals that, listen here, you will have to invest decriminalizing us, decolonizing us, destigmatizing us because you sit with the resources of the country that put us here 31 years ago to work with decriminalizing criminalized minds to apartheid.
I think I'm understanding where you're going, Miles. I think when I was thinking along the same lines, and I was going to monologue. I'm not going to monologue. I had a little thing going in my head about as soon as we look at things with skin color, we're getting away from the actual problem. It becomes a black and white issue, whatever that case may be.
So, John, let me tell you something else. Sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
You know, when you've got a criminalized mind, you are easily susceptible to commit a crime at the slightest provocation and easily susceptible to become a victim of crime violence.
All right, Miles and Joburg, thank you very much. Let's get one more in. Jabu and Mpumalanga. Go ahead, Jabu.
Yes, afternoon. Look, I think the issue of black corrupt white people, I mean, that is unfortunate, whoever that made that statement. The fact, if you look from 1910, Africa, apartheid has been the most criminal enterprise run by one race group against another. So if you look at the crime committed by white people in terms of apartheid, people friends couldn't just imagine if it look at black people through criminal that now would be fun. And most people forget that each and every election that is like a majority of people make national party. What do you stand for? Food for like no corruption in terms of black people can't do this, black people cannot do this, so forth and the like. Actually, if you look at the criminality, that is at the moment in both apartheid, corruption of it kills. So people mustn't come here and say, oh, black people are criminality. The whole is a huge crime, because a huge corruption.
All right. Jabu and Mpumalanga, you were there, SAFM. It's 5 o'clock.
Alleged 2021 unrest instigators had Cuba links and a weather warning for KZN. Good afternoon. Some alleged instigators who were members of social media groups which incited public violence during the 2021 July civil unrest had international links to countries like Cuba. That was the testimony of the state's first witness, Hawks Major General Gopal Govender, who's the national coordinator for unrest investigations. He's been testifying in the trial of MK Party MP Duduzile Zuma Sambudla at the High Court in Durban. The state says her social media posts intentionally and unlawfully encouraged the public to engage with acts of violence under hashtag Free Jacob Zuma. The court heard earlier that there were more than 160 WhatsApp groups created which were used to communicate messages to incite looting and destruction. The Matlanga Commission in Pretoria has heard how the acting Ekululeni Metro Police Department Chief, Julius Mkhwanazi, was called to assist in cleaning a murder scene in Brakpan, east of Johannesburg. That's according to retired Deputy Police Chief Rivo Spisa's testimony. The said incident took place in 2022 by members of the Ekuleleni Metro Police, who are believed to be under Mkhwanazi's authority. Spies further testified that the body of a person who was killed was dumped at a dam in Nigel.
And from the scene, they called Brigadier Mkhwanazi after it took place now. And Brigadier Mkhwanazi arrived on the scene in a white Golf. And he then proceeded to direct them how to clean the scene. And they placed the body of the victim on this civilian person's bakkie. And they instructed him to go dump the body, which he then duly did. And then when it came out, and IPID's investigating it, this person who did it, he turned state witness.
Meanwhile, in Cape Town, Parliament's ad hoc committee is investigating options to get testimony from remanded detainee Vusamusi Kat Matlala. The committee is probing allegations of criminal infiltration and political interference in the justice system. Matlala, who's facing charges of attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder and money laundering, is being held in a Pretoria prison. Committee chairperson Mulapi Lekhanyane.
The senior counsel is making arrangements with the legal team to have virtual consultations with Mr. Matlala, and the security team of Parliament went to Pretoria to make an assessment whether the committee can go and conduct its hearings there, or whether the committee will want to do virtual hearings.
KwaZulu-Natal disaster management teams are on high alert after the Weather Service issued a warning of severe thunderstorms that may occur over the western parts of the province. This comes after a severe thunderstorm with heavy hail and strong winds caused widespread flooding and damage in Newcastle. A warning has been issued for tonight, which includes for flooding, hail and possible damage to infrastructure. The spokesperson for the Provincial Cooperative Governance Department, Sizelo Mzila.
Residents are urged to exercise extreme caution as the level 4 severe thunderstorms warnings could cause flooding and also bring with it hail in these areas. Disaster management teams will continue to monitor closely all of these areas, and residents are urged to exercise extreme caution.
2 Kenyan activists who were detained in Uganda have been released after more than a month in custody. They've alleged they were tortured during their 38-day-long detention, a claim that once again has put a spotlight on Uganda's human rights record ahead of next year's elections. The SABC's Michael Baleke reports.
The 2 human rights activists say their ordeal began in October when they were abducted during opposition rallies in central Uganda. For weeks, authorities denied holding them until diplomatic pressure from Nairobi led to their release. Ugandan police accused the pair of entering the country illegally to support opposition leader Bobi Wine's National Unity platform, but the activists insist they were in Uganda for civic work and had clearance to be in the country. They've claimed they were blindfolded, beaten and held in isolation, and that they didn't think they would make it out alive. These claims have angered regional rights groups, with many now calling for an independent investigation. Ugandan police deny the torture claims, saying the men were handled according to local law.
Top story: some alleged instigators who were members of social media groups which incited public violence during the 2021 July civil unrest had international links to countries like Cuba. It's SAFM News. I'm Greg Khos.
In sports, the Sour Proteas shift focus to India Test. Chiefs see CAF Confed Cup campaign as springboard to Champions League return, and Springboks are unbeaten tour after beating France. More details at 5:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
In Gauteng, the N12 R24 westbound in Bedford View, queuing on both routes towards Giluli's interchange. And on Golden Highway in Zachariah Park, there's protest action near the Wimbledon Road, and you're asked to expect delays and diversions. In KZN, the N3 westbound in Pietermaritzburg has a stationary vehicle reported before Market Road, and the N2 northbound queuing at Spaghetti Junction. And in Cape Town, the N2 outbound is queuing on Baden-Powell Drive off-ramp, and Main Road northbound queuing at Glencairn. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This November, SAFM proudly presents the 3rd annual lecture.
And as the Freedom Charter says, no legitimate government could claim authority
unless it is based on the will of the people. And I think sometimes people forget that.
SAFM invites you to our third annual public lecture delivered by Chancellor of the Nelson Mandela University, Dr. Geraldine Fraser Muleketi. The theme of the lecture is Confronting Inequality, Corruption and Unemployment, Rebuilding South Africa's Social Contract for Inclusive and Sustainable Growth. The lecture will take place on the 27th of November 2025 at the Indaba Hotel, Spa and Conference Center in Fourways, Johannesburg. Secure your seat by emailing us at rsvp@safm.co.za. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. The National Pulse, weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m.
You are listening to John Gericka on SAFM.
All right, let's talk about ARTO. The Department of Transport announced today the implementation of the Administrative Adjudication of Road Traffic Offences. You and I know it as ARTO. It's been delayed until July next year, stating some municipalities not yet ready to implement it. The national rollout was due to commence next month. Let's talk to Wayne Divinay, CEO of Organisation Against Undoing Tax Abuse, or OUTA. Wayne, thank you very much for joining us. I think the last time we spoke, I think I asked you an obvious question to say, are we ready for this? And I think you said no back then.
Yeah, we haven't been ready, and we've had multiple potential. Gone straight into it. So there've been multiple, sort of expected launch dates, and the system is so administratively challenged. It's very cumbersome. It hasn't really involved enough of meaningful stakeholder input. We keep telling them this, so we're not surprised this is pushed out again, and we don't even think it'll be ready to be launched in July next year. You remember, even 2 ministers ago, it was Fikile Mbalula who was there saying, this is coming now, get ready, and here we sit 2 years later. So yeah, it's a long way off, we believe.
ARTO is going to happen. It's just the rolling out of it that is the problem. Is that right?
Well, it's more than that, It's like ETOLs. It's going to happen. We said, well, okay, go ahead and let's see what happens. And it didn't happen. It failed very quickly. Took them a while to eventually come to the sense and switch it off. The same thing's happening here. We see government with the same mindset of, well, if we just legislate everything, it'll all fall into place. And it doesn't work like that. You have to make it workable. And if it's not workable, if there are too many complaints, if people can't participate, pay fines, eventually goes to court, people can't participate, it'll have to be reset or scrapped. So we say to government, look, just engage with civil society. And I'm not talking just us, there are businesses, fleet owners, many role players and stakeholders that believe that it's flawed, and listen meaningfully, get them, but let's fix it, let's make it workable, because this is not New Zealand and Australia, where it does work, where they've got good systems. I mean, you can't drive in Australia with a false number plate or an unlicensed car or unroadworthy car. Here you can, and your likelihood of getting away with it is high. And that's not what we want. We're just saying that's our reality. And we're not opposed to the demerit point system, but it's not going to work unless you get all your ducks in a row.
Before we carry on, the last time we spoke, you mentioned Australia and New Zealand a couple of times. You got some criticism from that to say, how can you compare us to what's happening in Australia?
Well, I'm saying they're comparing us. So they're saying, it works in other countries.
Right.
And we're saying, well, if you look at the vehicle registry system in those countries, it's accurate. It's not so here. If you look at their postal system to get fines to people, it works in Australia and New Zealand. It doesn't work here. I mean, I don't have to tell anybody that who trusts and relies on the post office to get anything from one place to another. So it's not us. It's the reality. So, we would love our administration to be working. We'd love traffic lights and roads and markings, all these things, but they are not in place. And where they are, by the way, where the highest collection rates are, that's in the DA-run municipalities and the Western Cape. Those cities, those metros and municipalities are saying, we don't want to participate in ARTO. Now, that's something we warned government about in our constitutional court case, which the government said, no, let the government go ahead. And we said, fine, let's see what happens. Well, those municipalities cannot have their powers usurped by national government, are saying, well, you go ahead with ARTO, but we're not playing this game. We're not participating. That's a big problem. That's why we've seen the minister and the department saying, oops, we better push this out, not just because some of the 68 municipalities that were supposed to roll out on the 1st of December aren't ready. It's because there are a number of municipalities that aren't even going to participate, and that's a big problem for the scheme.
The word they're using is harmonizing the current law enforcement system.
Yeah. And it's very different because the laws on these matters are, each town and municipality has its own laws, its bylaws. It can implement and manage its own traffic fines and collections. They don't have to subscribe to our system. They might have to subscribe to uploading information for the demerit point system, but that itself is another problem, challenge.
Why has it taken so long to train law enforcement and back office personnel? You think that once this started, it would have been the first priority?
Exactly. You know, this is about getting systems into all of these municipalities, having them ready, trained up. And you ask me, why is it taking so long? That's not difficult. You go to the town municipalities, you put them down, you get them the training and the systems. But I guess if you haven't launched and you've trained one 6 months ago and you want to launch now, and they're not ready, or they've had their staff changes, and all of these things just come into play. So we're not sure why, but I can assure you that that's only one of a number of problems.
According to IOL in their story, they say that final regulations we're only going to be published in late October. Is this whole thing not finalized yet, just with a regulation standpoint?
Well, you see, now that's another challenge. The regulations that we saw that were published a couple of weeks ago, you can't even read them. And you've got to ask yourself, how is it possible that they're uploaded into the Gazettes and where the public's supposed to find this information? It's so blurred. They obviously got scanned it on a scanner that doesn't even work. It's blurred. You can't even read them. That's how bad this whole process is. And then on that, there's flaws. And a number of years ago, they got public consultation on that. Then they changed the regulations and they don't do any public consultation. So they set the precedent. They don't have to on regulations, but they said, okay, we'll consult. They changed them, then they don't consult. It's just there's a lot of confusion. So we don't think they are ready by a long way.
When we started the show, I told the listeners about this delay. First caller we got phoned in said, so if I get a speeding fine now, do I have to pay it?
Yeah, you do. I mean, you've got to be very careful. Nobody's advocating for the fact that people must break the law, and it depends on what town you're in. A number of those municipalities aren't on the ARPA system, so you'll pay the fines according to their bylaws and how they process them. Many municipalities are very broken when it comes to publishing them and trying to collect money. Whereas others, like City of Cape Town, you speed and break the law there, you'll get a fine, and if you don't pay it, you'll suffer the consequences. It's the example of a well-administered city. That's not the case in broken municipalities who can't even collect water and light revenue, let alone traffic fine revenue. But you've got to pay your fines. You've got to first of all not get fines if you can, and then pay them. But if they're not served on you correctly and timeously as per the laws and the regulations, well then you can challenge them because they've got to serve them on you on time and do it properly.
So everything remains in place until the new system kicks in, and that new system is being kicked down being kicked down the road.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, Randy Dividage, thank you very much, CEO of the organization Undoing Tax Abuse, or out.
You are listening to John Gericka on SAFM.
Voice notes 0614 104 107. Plenty to get through.
Hey, John, your team and all the SAFM listeners, it's Dee from Velcom. I just want to quickly congratulate the police team in Caledon. It was reported in the news yesterday that reapprehended a convict, life-term rapist who had escaped. They also used a drone unit, and it is the drone unit that located him in the river, and he was rearrested. That's great work. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, we played that one. Apologies. I'm just seeing some breaking news, international news, and I'm sure Greg will keep an eye on this. Mike Johnson, the U.S. House Speaker, is saying that the House, which is their parliament, is moving forward with a deal to end the government shutdown. It's the longest shutdown in American history. And Mike Johnson, the U.S. Speaker, is saying that they're moving forward with a deal to end that shutdown. So we'll keep a close eye on that. More voice notes.
Good day, John, and to the SAFM listeners. Just want to come in on what Tukulo was saying there about It was about 3:45, 3:44. He's saying what a lot of black people are saying, and I'm a black person as well. And a lot of us are saying, under why the black government, the country is failing. And that is what he's saying. And he's basically saying that black people cannot take lead and develop the country forward. That is what he's saying, and that is the sentiment on the ground by many black people. I'm a black person myself, and I say it. Look at Africa as a continent. That is what he's saying. Thank you. This is MG Lamont.
Good afternoon, John. I'm Sweden. Last week, Friday, in this very show, I heard someone saying during state capture years, the SOEs were doing better than now. How naive and delusional people can be. During those years, I've never heard ESCOM recording profits as it just recorded 15 billion just last financial year. It was havoc back then. Brian Mulefe, the guy that was praising, seemed to be the catalyst. State-owned companies down failure. It's like those people who say it was better during apartheid. I wasn't there anyway, but during the state capture years, I was there and alive to witness everything. Thank you.
Let's take a lighter voice note about Liverpool.
How's it, John? Justin from Durban. Let me take it back to sports. Liverpool. That's all I'm going to say. Liverpool.
Sometimes you run these promos and you get the other shows and it's all these very serious things. I'd love to run that as the promo. Eh? The National Pulse. Wait. Oh no, they made it go away. Did you delete it? Oh, they did delete. That would have made such a good promo. All right, more voice notes.
Concern for love, trust, especially for you buy a new tire today, may another. That's what we are saying. Your this are not much then about being. Thank you.
Good afternoon, John and listeners. I think the other thing that we are missing, the ANC is managing a possible fallout. If we remember what happened when Jacob Zuma was removed by Thabo Mbeki, it ruptured and the ANC was never the same. So with Senzo Mchunu now, the ANC is cautious to say if they allow him to go and operate outside the structures of the ANC, like they did with Jacob Zuma, he might mobilize against the ANC and then again put the ANC in a very, very precarious situation. Thank you.
I think that's talking about Police Minister Mchunu, who handed in his or wanted to relieve himself of duties in the ANC and the top-ranking officials in the ANC, and the ANC just declined that request. I think that's what the caller was talking about.
If you think you cannot afford a lawyer, think again. Clientele Legal has made professional legal services affordable. You receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. Our range of plans include cover for you, your spouse, children, and extended family. Plans include cover for civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Whether it's protection orders, gender-based violence, uncontested divorce, or poor service, your Clientele Legal lawyer will be there to assist you. Our services are convenient. Simply pick up the phone and call your lawyer or send us an email and we'll get back to you. All plans include a bail benefit of up to 5,000 Rand and we'll go to the police station and pay it for you. Plus, Clientele Legal offers you 24-hour telephonic legal advice. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
Gender-based violence is destroying lives and tearing communities apart. It happens in homes, in schools, at workplaces, and too often in silence. But it doesn't have to continue. If you see it, speak out. If you are hurting, reach out. Because doing nothing is not an option. Listen to all 19 SABC radio stations for hard talk, discussions, advice, dramas, educational shows, and interviews around GBV with experts, survivors, lawmakers, and a whole country affected by gender-based violence. All on your favorite SABC radio station. Call 0800 428 428 to report abuse or get help. GBV, it ends with you. This message is brought to you by the SABC. You're listening to the National Pulse.
How's it, John? Justin from Durban. Let me take it back to sports. Liverpool. That's all I'm going to say. Liverpool.
You're listening to the National Pulse.
That's a promo. That's a promo right there. Let's talk about something completely different for a moment. The E-Commerce Forum South Africa, in collaboration with the Mapungubwe Institute for Strategic Reflections and the Takealot Group, has launched a landmark report titled Seizing the Moment, Unlocking South Africa's E-Commerce Promise. Explore South Africa's e-commerce landscape, highlighting the challenges and opportunities to drive inclusive growth, digital inclusion, reindustrialization. Let's talk to Shamila Letsoalo, chairperson of the e-commerce forum. Shamila, thank you very much for joining us. 112-page report I have here in front of me. But let's start with the headlines. Connect, accelerate, regulate, and trade. What did you come up with in this report?
Hi, John. Thank you very much for having me. So we, as you said, we've done this report with Lustra, and we're really excited about what it produced. We wanted to get a real sense of the state of e-commerce in South Africa. If you look at the report, it's very promising. So I think the urgency of the report basically reflects back to say, are we as South Africa going to embrace and help help us to, in terms of growth, or going to get a profit.
All right, let's. Sorry, go ahead.
And so if you look at the report, it basically says that from an e-commerce maturity perspective, our country has all the right ingredients, if you can call it that, to really accelerate e-commerce. And so, we need to really take that opportunity.
All right, let's take a step back. What's e-commerce?
So e-commerce is any trade of goods or services and even content online. Basically the selling or the trade of services online.
Okay, so if I subscribe to Netflix or watch SABC Plus, maybe not so SABC because that's free, but if I subscribe to Netflix, that's e-commerce.
Yes.
Okay.
The transaction is, yeah.
Okay, how are we doing as South Africans? Where do we fall in the globe when it comes to our consumption of e-commerce products?
So globally, if you look at where we are, if you look at South Africa, how it compares with internationally, we've done, it's grown exceptionally. Just before in 2019, we were at 1% e-commerce of total retail. Today, we're nearing 10%. But if you compare that with internationally, it's, the international average is 25%. And so if you think about South Africa as a small country in the most southern part of the continent, and despite all of our challenges, we're really growing significantly. And of course, something like COVID, very tough on all of us. There was definitely rapid adoption in 2020 when it happened, but also a lot of that. So there was a lot of stickiness. And that really helped with adoption of commerce.
Yeah, I'm just thinking 60/60 was one of those, wasn't it? Where it's changed the way Checkers is working.
Yes, absolutely.
What are some of the challenges that we're experiencing? Why aren't we up at the 20.5% then?
I think some of the challenges are, we talk a lot about in the report around the big five. And that's nothing to do with animals. It's about what the big things are that's holding us. You just, pillars that we're talking about around e-commerce, um, maturity, we've got all of those in place. But the things that are holding us back, things like recently is regulatory fragmentation. In terms of our regulators, we can be much more integrated and much more aligned, and these different regulators or departments can work with each other, more to ensure that there's better integration and more enabling environments for e-commerce. Some of the other things are, like digital exclusion. It's a big thing, for us, given how unequal our country is. Township economy thing, and a lot of my colleagues are saying, this number is too conservative, but the number that we have on file is that we've got a 1.1 million micro, small, medium enterprises that that we're not servicing as e-commerce. So that basically 60% of them operate informally and without any digital.
One of the big issues, and it took 2 or 3, and I just need to move on because I'm worried about time. Is South Africa is a very small fish in a very big pool. I'm thinking Shein and Temu are huge, and how do we compete against these mega corporations that are on the internet for free for us almost?
Yeah, I think the one thing is around. I talk a lot about regulation, and so how do we create an equal playing field so that companies like Shein and Temu, when they do sell to South African consumers and they operate in the country, that they also pay also so have warehouses that also have offices there that pay the same kind of service that other big companies pay. I think those are very important. And the other thing is obviously localization. So I think it's very important for South Africans and businesses to try and produce more South African goods, and also for us all to, as business and government, to look at how do we, incubate and have better support for local manufacturers and local businesses.
Are we on the right track in South Africa?
Definitely. If you look at the UNCTAD, the 6 pillars in terms of our e-commerce readiness, we do have the right ingredients. We just need to, accelerate and create a more enabling environment so that we can get to this, this destination in terms of growth. And we really believe that e-commerce can be that, accelerator.
And are South Africans ready to accept the challenge? Have we got the
Yes,
talent
they
pool?
are. If you look at South Africans' buying power, I think the figure is 60% of what we buy online is outside of South Africa. So we want a lot more of that to be in South Africa, of course. But of course, we're also very conscious that consumers have, very tight price for consumers, and so there's always a push for, us to provide, as e-commerce companies, better convenience, more competitive, and more pricing.
Shamila Letsoalo, thank you very much. Chairperson of E-Commerce Forum. Sorry, Shamila, if you're still there, can we find this report that has come out?
Yes, you can find the report online on the e-commerce website under ecom.org.
Ecom.org. Okay, thank you very much, Shamila Letsoalo. Thank you very much.
Looking at the news headlines, the Public Service Commission's quarterly bulletin has revealed a regression in the timely payment of invoices to service providers by government departments. Police have opened an inquest after the helicopter crash in the Eastern Cape, and an international relations analyst says the G20 Leader Summit in South Africa will continue with or without the US. There's a full update at 6 o'clock.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good afternoon. Starting off in Gauteng, the M1 northbound in Woodmead, queuing towards Buccleuch Interchange, the N12 eastbound in Germiston, a crash before Jet Park Road, all lanes are open, and the N3 southbound in Bedfordview has a crash near Van Buren Road. In KZN, the N2 northbound is slow moving towards the M25 Commercial Highway. the N3 westbound queuing towards Cliffdale, and the M19 westbound in Westville is slow moving towards Dunkeld Road. In Cape Town, the R300 northbound queuing towards the N1 outbound ramp, 35th Avenue southbound in Bishop Lavis is slow moving towards Robert Sobukwe Road, and Plattekloof Road eastbound slow moving towards the N1 highway. With your traffic update, I'm Irma G.
This is SAFM Sports with Doming Kapele.
Hi, John Lukman, Cape Town. Stop making fun of Liverpool, man. Just stop making fun of Glory, glory, Man United. It feels good not to be the clown of the Premiership.
You know, I fully feel him. Like for a change. When we were playing on Saturday, was it on Saturday when Man United were playing? Yeah, on Saturday. And at one stage we were in the lead. And I was sitting with my husband and we're looking at the log and we were second. I'm like, let me just take a screenshot. Unfortunately, it was a draw, but
Looking like a
still.
true Chiefs fan there as well.
Oh, wow,
Quickly, the Chiefs are on top. What's happening in the other sports?
Well, let's start things off with cricket. The Sawa, where Temba Bavuma returns to lead the Proteas after missing the tour to Pakistan as they shift their focus to test against India. Other senior players who weren't considered for the ODIs but are now back include Aiden Markram, Vian Mulder, Marco Jansen, Keshaf Maharaj, Kagiso Rabada, Ryan Rickleton, Tristan Stubbs, and Kalfa Rain. Meanwhile, the fourth T20 international between New Zealand and West Indies was abandoned because of the rain today after less than 7 overs of play. New Zealand remained 2-1 up in the series with fifth and final match to be played on Thursday. Now, in terms of rugby, the Springboks are now eyeing an unbeaten tour of Northern Hemisphere. This is after beating France 32-17 at the start of France in Paris on Saturday. The next challenge is Italy in Turin, and the team traveled from Paris yesterday, beginning preparations for Saturday's clash at the Allianz Stadium today. And Springbok prop Wilkolo says that the Italians will present another tough test.
Yeah, this is a big one for us, but next week Italy will be up and ready for us. So just get ready, prepping for Italy, and they'll definitely come as always. They're a physical team. They've got good scrums, good models, and they always throw the ball around. So it'll be a big challenge next week, and it'll be a tough one.
Then Ashraf, remember? Not Ashraf, man.
That's twice,
John.
eh? That's
Sorry,
twice.
yeah, strike two. Excuse. So, remember earlier on, I did say I'm going to play that message from Jurgen Klopp to
Yes,
Sia
yes.
for his 100th test. This is what he said.
Sia, my friend, another milestone of the most incredible sports career I've ever heard of. The things I love in life the most is stories about people who made their way. And obviously the most inspiring stories are the stories where, the start was at a time when nobody could even imagine that a positive future is possible. And I think that's your story. So, calling you my friend is one of the biggest honors I can imagine. Having an idol in a sport I don't understand at all is pretty special as well. And so, congratulations, 100. Isn't it crazy? And the best is still to come.
Oh, man.
What a champ.
That's all right, eh?
Heartwarming stuff, right?
Do you think Sia goes, yeah, Jurgen Klopp's my friend?
Yeah,
Eh?
honestly.
Hanging out with these
How many
dudes.
times did he say my friend in that clip?
4 times.
Bruh.
That's something else. That's amazing.
Amazing.
It just goes to show the power, and what he's saying there, the power of what has been done by SA Rugby, where they've found these people and they've nurtured them and brought them up and found their talent, and those are the stories that kids today can relate to.
Absolutely.
Jurgen Klopp can relate to it, and kids at home who are 12 years old who want to play foot rugby can learn, or any sport.
True.
So well done.
Kolisi's story is very inspiring, but at the same time, I keep saying that if Rassie Erasmus was not in charge, to make that decision? Would that decision still be made to make him
You see, I don't,
first black?
Rassie, I didn't want to give Rassie all the credit. That's why I'm giving SA Rugby all the credit, because somebody also Rassie had to ask. You can't just go and demand. So there were a group of people that all got together and go, this is the future for Springboks. And it's worked for the Springboks. Despite the criticism, there were people criticizing the team makeup on Friday and into Saturday morning, and yet they are still going out and winning. So, yeah, it's a group of people that have got together. So credit to every single one.
Absolutely. In football, with two Southern African teams in the Africa Cup of Nations group in Angola and Zimbabwe, Bafana head coach Hugo Bruce says that Zambia is the perfect opponent to prepare for the tournament. The team assembled for camp today for the game at the Nelson Mandela Bay Stadium this weekend in what will be their only game in the upcoming international window. And Bruce has also lined up another friendly match just before their departure for AFCON, and also feels that Chipolopolo are precisely what they're looking forward to.
It's always a problem when we need friendly games. It's always a problem, and we always play against teams who are on the border of South Africa, because when we have to go, it costs money, and yeah, it's always difficult. So we tried always to find someone or a team that can help us to have a good preparation, and yeah, Zambia was ready to come. So I think it's a good opponent for us to play that game now next week. It's a good team. Don't underestimate them.
That's my point exactly, right? Here's Hugo Bruce wanting something, but if you don't get the whole group behind you, then it falls apart.
Got you.
Right.
Got you. But who has to make the decision first? Or who has to come up with that?
Valid.
Fair enough.
So we both win.
Yeah. Anything's off with Olympic news. The International Olympic Committee has moved a step closer to introducing a blanket ban on transgender women from female categories across all sports. IOC President Kirsty Coventry vowed to bring in the policy as part of her election campaign, and BBC Sport says that, or reports that, a ban is likely to be introduced in 2026. On that note, it is a wrap from my side. I've been enjoying this victory from the past weekend, and I'm hoping that this will be another good week for me.
Just one more time.
We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're not worthy! We're scum! We suck!
It's the last time. Okay.
With
We're
that
done.
said, ke nna tumeng kgapela, Modimo ke o.
Streaming Scheme Sum on the way to class.
Catching the Premier League while waiting for your order.
Jamming to Metro FM before you even get out of bed.
On SABC Plus, sinayo yonke into ifunayo. Your show, your music, your way, anytime, anywhere. Zero subscription fees.
On your phone, tablet, or smart TV.
Download SABC Plus on iOS or Google Play Store.
Access to the internet is vital for any country to grow. That's why the recent 6.75 billion rand digital infrastructure deal that Standard Bank Corporate and Investment Banking facilitated between Telkom and an Actors-led consortium is so transformational for South Africa. It unlocks growth and provides internet access to underserved communities who will now have access to the internet for the very first time. Search CIB Stories of Impact to watch the full story.
Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Economic news on SAFM. Facts and figures you can count on.
Get an understanding of what happened today. Jimmy Muyaha's got all the numbers. Are we green or red today, Jimmy?
Well, green, John. We're starting off the week in very positive territory. It's nice to see. We know we've got a lot of news coming out this week, particularly news relevant to the South African rand in the form of the midterm budget policy statement that will be tabled on Wednesday. But ahead of that, the rand starting off the week in very strong territory against both the US dollar and the euro in particular. I had a look at the euro because this is the first time we've been around the 19 rand 80 mark if we get to break below this level since probably around March, April of this year. We did briefly dip around to this level at the start of last month, but if we break below this 1975 odd level, and we go anywhere near 1925 or so, the last time we were there was about February of this year. So it'll be the best performance for the year so far. The rand, optimistic it seems to start off the week. We'll get into some of the other numbers in a second. A quick sense of what's coming up on the show. We're going to be speaking numbers. We're going to be speaking to the CEOs of both Omnia and Vodacom. Both companies released their interim results for their first 6 months, for their respective 6-month periods to start off the new financial years. We're going to get a sense of what has been going on in each of those companies and what we make of it. Then we've got a very interesting conversation we're going to have with Worksman's attorneys around the Competition Commission's decision to take the JSE to task for some anti-competitive behavior towards the A2X. Now, the A2X is, of course, the newer of the two exchanges, a slightly smaller exchange meant to provide a lot more diversity and accessibility to investors. Seemingly, the JSE, according to the Competition Commission, has engaged in behavior that is unbecoming of an exchange, I suppose. This complaint was initially lodged by A2X back in 2022. So we're going to get a sense of what that means now and where we go from here in that respect. And then we're also going to take a look at the world of corporate governance. We know that in South Africa, corporate governance is largely driven and guided by what is called the King Code. We're currently in the 4th iteration of that. So King 4 is what has been in effect at this point. It seems as though the King Committee has put together King 5, and that was released at the start of this month. We're going to take a look at that and see what it means for businesses and for companies looking at corporate governance and how they navigate that. And then because it's Monday, we've got a personal finance conversation. We're going to be taking a look at managing your finances as health issues arise later in life. We often find ourselves in difficult positions or having to make difficult decisions because life circumstances change, and we're going to take a look at how to best navigate that from a financial planning perspective when that time does come, or if it should happen to come up. Before we get to those conversations, as I said, a quick sense of market movements. The rand on much stronger footing. The equity side of things, all equity markets finishing the day in the green. The Nasdaq and the US markets obviously still have the evening to trade into, but with the Nasdaq up a little over 2%, I don't see them finishing in the red for the day. The S&P is up about 1.1%. In Asian markets that would have been trading early in the morning, the Hang Seng in Hong Kong was the biggest gainer, up about 1.5%. European markets, the DAX in Germany was the biggest winner there, up about 1.7%. But the FTSE and the CAC 40 in both cases were up more than 8%. In terms of local markets, resource stocks up 4.3%, industrials up 1.1%, financials up 0.75%, and the all share as a result up 1.8%. The top 40 up almost a full 2%. If we look at those commodity prices, the gold price $4,088 a fine ounce. We were briefly above 4,100 a little earlier today. The Brent crude price $63.74 a barrel. Silver pricing around the $50 a fine ounce level. Platinum pricing $1,578, but I did see us touch $1,600 a fine ounce there. Palladium $1,423. Anyone looking at the crypto side of the world, Bitcoin $105,300 odd dollars a coin. We did briefly dip below 100,000. I did say that we might do that over the weekend. It did happen. Now we're back above $100,000 a coin, or in rand terms 1.808 million rand. So 1,808,000 rand is what you can expect if you want to purchase a single Bitcoin at the moment. So we're going to have these and other conversations just after the 6 p.m. news. But for now, John, back to you.
Yaha, thank you very much. Small business, as you heard, coming up in about 15 minutes or so from now. I was just doing, while listening to Jimmy talking about the numbers there, you know, things go up 1% per day, and then the next day they're up another percent, and so on. So I asked, it's AI, so don't get me wrong. I asked if something goes up 1% per day for a year, 365 days, how much will it have increased at the end of the year from today to this time next year? The answer is 3,678%, or 37.78 times its original value. See, this is why people like Jimmy and all the other great people that give us the business news, this is why we keep them there, because I don't understand what this means. It goes up 1% per day, but at the end of the year, it'll have increased by 3,678%. Compound interest or compound growth or something. I don't understand. That's why we leave it to the experts.
You're listening to the National Pulse,
All right, let's take some voice notes. 0614 104 107.
That located him in the river in Austria.
Good afternoon, John. Aaron here. Senzo Mkhunu, step aside, don't step aside. I think the ANC has again scored an own goal here. I mean, just try and prove to us that you're serious about dealing with corruption. Just try. Thank you.
This is Johnny Mahala from Kabarga. Forgive me for not identifying myself. The horrifying truth. It's too ghastly to contemplate, John. That's the bottom line. But this is where we're at. Just read the room, read the bodies, read the slick tongues. Bekele is absolutely a 28 and will protect his turf and did protect his turf and hand it over to somebody who's also in the thick of collusion with the gangs. Biblical, this horror. That's how bad it is.
Good day, John. This is Nati from Cape Town. John, I think this thing of Magango Commission, it is only like going to show us how the politicians are. Whoever trust Bheki Cele, they must trust him at their own risk. The guy is mingling with those guys. So what did they want to the funeral order of Muswazi? Even Julius Malema was there, admitted to have. You don't just go to a funeral of a person that you don't know.
We'll take more voice notes later on. And Katu in Midrand, we're going to come to you after this.
Ready to connect, innovate, and be inspired? It's all happening at Africa's Tech Festival, where Africa's technology meets the world. From the 10th to the 13th of November in Cape Town, join global leaders, investors, and innovators driving the future of Africa's digital economy. Don't miss the continent's biggest week in tech. Get your pass now at africatechfestival.com.
Clientele is here to safeguard you and your family with compassion because life happens. Be part of a family that truly cares. Our funeral dignity plans have helped South Africans bury their loved ones with dignity for more than 30 years. Let us help you create a meaningful tribute that honors your life and those of your loved ones. We pay out within 24 hours and you will get double accident cover with a clientele funeral plan. Our plans are affordable. Pick the option that suits your needs. Easy to apply, no medical examinations, and no paperwork. SMS SAFM to 48031. That's 48031. Clientele Life is an authorized FSP and licensed life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
The Morning Brief.
So we're seeing Malusi Gigaba taking to Twitter and talking about appearing in court.
We have indeed reliably been informed that Malusi Gigaba, the former Minister of Public Enterprises, former Minister of Finance, former Deputy Minister of Public Enterprises, will be appearing in court this morning on related state capture related cases. So it is no surprise that he is taking to Twitter and speaking about these particular matters because it is indeed him, and he is saying pretty much that he is looking very eagerly in trying to resolve this particular matter, getting his name cleared. But speaking to other sources within the ANC who are aligned to Malusi Gigaba because he is a National Executive Committee member, they are saying that these cases are politically motivated. It is used in order to try and eliminate him as president of the African National Congress from contesting.
Tulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief.
You are listening to John Gericka on SFM.
10 to 6. Let's take voice notes and calls to get us up to the news at 6 o'clock. Start with Katu in Midrand. Go ahead, Katu.
Hi, good afternoon. I think let's decode this thing very quickly. For as long as a politician needs money to campaign and to get president, minister, and whatever, you will always have money funding campaign. And also, the president to be needs to surround himself with people who can bring it over different provinces on a civil plane. That's what Senzo Mkhunu and Bheki Cele were. Ramaphosa, they needed to get good positions. They did. So it's not about the most ethical and the most competent person that you put in ministry, the rewards, the people that put you in presidency or into a higher position. And unfortunately, you cannot separate the politicians from criminality because that money funds campaigns. I mean, President Ramaphosa, it's how much, $500 million for his presidential campaign. So imagine everybody else who wants that position now. They need to collect a lot of money to ascend.
So what's the
For me,
solution?
I think
What's the solution?
it's very difficult to say. This is the type of democracy that we have in South Africa. You're not going to change that anytime soon. I think within the law enforcement, which is a different conversation, if we can have a service within law enforcement from the because if you're dealing with Senzo Mkhunu, you're dealing with one minister. You can replace him tomorrow with a different minister. We can put Wetman Mphathe there tomorrow and fire Senzo Mkhunu. We've not dealt with the rot the way to the bottom. Lastly, I think it needs a serious shake-up because the police will never successfully investigate
Mm. All right, Katu, with his views, it's how do you fix the system? It was a call. Was it late nights when I was doing night talk? Somebody phoned up and said, who's the bastion of democracy on the planet these days? Right? In the old days, it was America. That was the democracy, the country that was democracy, the world's most powerful economy. You can't use them as a bastion of democracy anymore for the same reason that Katu was saying. It's got to do with money. It's got to do with putting people in to positions that lead you to power. So who do we base? How do we fix it? 086 000 2032.
Good afternoon, John, and good afternoon to the SAFM listeners. I also want to take a bite on this case of Mkhunu. So I think, John, the ANC people do not have any morals. They don't have any values. They don't have any integrity left. There is no way you could allow the organization to dictate what you should do and what you should not do. In this instance, if your conscience is telling you that, and your integrity is actually telling you that you must resign, then you must resign, really. That's what we should do. Then perhaps you might even earn our respect. But as things stand, with this justification that no, the organization doesn't allow, then I don't take that. What about you? What are you saying about your integrity, about your image that has been punished with these allegations? The least you can do is to resign. That's it.
A number of voice notes coming through about the open line. There was the caller that said black people are corrupt and they need white people to come fix things up. I think you got strong views on that.
Good afternoon, John. I'm Captain. The caller say, opinion, you can say whatever is wrong. Sometimes it's certain group, maybe you're insulting some religion, maybe you're insulting some other people. So the producer or whatever, the one who's in duty, the SFM, he can question, and if you want, he can put you off because sometimes if you cross the line, sometimes you're good, sometimes you're bad. So you have to control what you say, whatever. So sometimes it's open view, but you cannot say what you want because you cannot talk something other people is wrong, and then the operator knows I'm wrong, so he will stop me and he will rectify me. So open line is sometimes it's not what you're thinking. It's open mind, and you have to look after other people.
Hey, John, we've got a certain group of people in South Africa. Actually, they like calling us FM. Number one, they like their kids to be beaten up. Number two, they like white people and they love oppression. They just think because they used to be workers, now the oppression must come back because now they used to work. No, we don't want to be workers, And then thirdly, they like the death sentence and they like people to be beaten up. They like the spill of blood. That group of people, that's the guy that you were speaking to. Thanks, Spongy here.
Afternoon, John. Afternoon, listeners of SAFM. Sasha is confused. Sasha, I don't know which era of time is he living in. Because he should just say whatever he wanted to say. He should not keep on referring to color. He's not mentioning what is wrong with the color. The problem is not the color, it's individuals that are corrupt and that ever were not in the struggle or had no intention of emancipating the black person or making and bringing that for equality for humanity. That's all I can say about that. From Lufontaine.
John. Afternoon. You know, it's sad. It's sad to hear an adult who is almost an ancestor who experienced an apartheid said the shocking things that old man has said. DA, few months ago in Western Cape, 2 billion scandal. Are they not corrupt? DE and ANC, they are the same, black and white. Not all white people are corrupt. Not all black people are corrupt. It is so sad. Good afternoon, Kenneth and Kimberly.
John, good afternoon. Ndumiso from Waterfall in KZN. You are doing a great job. Keep it up. Any statement that is made on the radio station, it is your job, John, to challenge it. Whether it's right or whether it's wrong, it doesn't matter. We want you to challenge those people. And people must stop making nonsensical generalizations. We shouldn't do that, guys. Generalization is a form of lazy thinking. People must just keep that in mind. And one last thing, people who come here on the radio station and they think, or rather, they think that they're entitled to not being challenged, must go elsewhere. This is not the place. Yeah, we are here for constructive debate and constructive arguments that build the nation. If you just want to push one side, this is not the place. Great show, John. Thank you.
Good afternoon, John. John Mataboge. John, sometimes some people just call for the sake of calling. I think the person who has just spoken to you about the color of his skin is brainwashed, to be honest. His mind is brainwashed, and he doesn't know what he says. Whatever he believes in or he believes in should not accommodate or include others in it, because that is his own thinking and belief. So we are not part of that. We see everything as fair as possible. And we're not going to be reminded about what happened in the past. We've gone past this stage. This is the time for us to move on and correct where wrongs are. Thank you, John.
Good afternoon, John. How do you fix the system? It's very simple. Fixing the system, implement laws or regulations to simply say, if you are a public servant, particularly a police, and you've been found for misconduct, or let me not rather say misconduct, you've been found guilty for any kind of crime. If the court of law sentences you for 5 years, you must serve at least 10 years. You must serve at least 5 years prior to your sentence that will be handed to you by the court of law. In that sense, because now you know the law, you're supposed to enforce the law, the rule of law, but you still continue to break the law. So that will be my answer.
We'll continue this conversation tomorrow. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Thank you very much. More between 3 and 6 tomorrow, and we'll have all the commissions and updates of the ad hoc committee as well here on SAFM. Thanks to Finney for pushing the buttons. Keys, Vasani and Temba produced the program. Finance next. First, news with Greg at 6.
Thank you, John. A regression in the government payment of service providers and the G20 summit to go ahead without the US. Good evening. The Public Service Commission's quarterly Pulse of the Public Service Bulletin has revealed a regression in the timely payment of invoices to service providers by government departments for the 2024-25 financial year. The Commission investigates personnel and public administration practices. Commissioners want consequence management instituted against accounting officers who fail to pay service providers within 30 days of receipt of an invoice. The Public Service Commissioner, Anele Kotia.
The number of invoices paid later than 30 days
by national departments was 143,245 invoices, with a rand value of 6.4 billion as at end of financial year. This indicates a regression of 32% or